All right, how's everybody out there today? Okay, we got a couple guests we're waiting on to join the stream with us. Uh, they should come in the studio here anytime. Until then, how's everybody doing out there? Everyone staying safe, staying healthy? I don't have any typing yet, but hopefully it'll change here in a little bit. So on tonight's the agenda for this evening, we're going to be discussing paranormal. I've got some EVPs that we're going to be playing. I used to do paranormal investigating some years ago. And then the EVPs I'll be playing for you tonight were some of the ones that the paranormal group that I was with that we caught while we were investigating. So hopefully it's going to be interesting. I'm going to be playing them from my cell phone to the microphone here. So hopefully you'll be able to hear it without much of a problem. And therefore you all will be able to hear it. So. If you can type there in the chat for me, let me know that you're here. Definitely do me a favor, hit that like button down there underneath the screen. I would appreciate it. Hey, Connie, how you doing? I see you there. Good evening to you too. How you doing? Just came in. Well, that's good. We're just getting started. Expecting Joker to be joining us, and maybe Midwest Flesh will be in here. I'm not sure. He said he wanted to, but I'm not sure if he's busy or not. But we're going to be playing some EVPs and talking about paranormal stuff this evening. How you doing out there? How's things in Colorado? Hey, Todd, what's happening, brother? Good evening to you as well. Yeah, it's going to be a good. Yeah, we're going to be talking paranormal tonight, Todd. We're going to be playing some EVPs that I captured, as well as the group that I used to do paranormal investigating with. We've captured over back when we used to do that. I'm going to be playing them from my cell phone. Unfortunately, couldn't figure out the technical side of things to get them to play over here. So hopefully, you guys will be able to hear it. I'm more than happy to play, each one more than one time, so you guys can get a feel for the EVP, see what you guys think that it says, and yeah, it's gonna be fun tonight. I should have Joker in here pretty soon. He said he was going to join with us, and maybe Midwest Flesh. I'm not sure yet. So yeah, I'm waiting to see, waiting for them to join. Waiting for Joker to join us here. Todd, how are you this evening? Hey, and ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to add to the show tonight, Joker's Nation.
What's up, Paul?
There's Joker.
What's going on, everyone?
Yeah, Todd, Joker definitely knows the stuff when it comes to the paranormal. So there's no doubt. That's why I asked him to be on here tonight. I've had the luck of being able to catch some of the EVPs on his video that he happened to miss. So, for my paranormal society that I used to belong to back in the day, I'm the one that did the majority of the audio review. So I got real good at picking out EVPs and catching waveforms and being able to see that what I'm hearing wasn't within the audible ranges. And using a program called Sony SoundForge to bring those out.
There we go.
So I'm hoping that tonight we playing them from my cell phone. These EVPs that we captured way back when. You guys will be able to hear them. Like I said, I've got no problem playing one over and over again. If you guys don't hear it quite well, I'll try to make the adjustments, especially when I get Joker's take on it. I've taken a kind of a sideways here on the Freemason thing. A couple of the guests that I have lined up for that weren't available for this week, so I decided we would do this instead. People seem to be to enjoy this subject. I know Joker's all about this subject. So,
oh yeah.
How are you tonight, brother?
I'm doing good. It's been a busy day today. Been going like mad, doing all kinds of stuff, trying to get even more videos ready to go and get them out. No, I don't have. I got a tickle in the throat, so you're going to hear me doing that, but it's due to nasal drip.
Yeah, you gotta love the allergy season.
Oh, I've been having nosebleeds this week, and it's like the house is so dry because I've been in the house pretty much since Wednesday.
Right.
So it's dry. So I've been running the humidifier trying to get it taken care of, but it's just like I'll get too much and then I won't get enough. So it's like trying to play a balancing act, and
I understand.
Kind of feeling that tickle in the throat. So, but no, don't worry, anyone. It's just nasal drip.
So Connie says you're catching up on Oak Island episodes. That's awesome.
There you go.
Which episode you on? Hey, Joker, we might have Midwest join us. I sent him a link to the studio. I know last night he said he was interested in coming up. But, if he'd like you, he's probably editing video and probably busy with the fam, so he might not be in. He hasn't seen the message yet, so.
He never jumps in right off the bat. Normally he likes to make that late entrance whenever he comes on. Even on mine, he does that.
Yeah, copy that.
It seems like they have dinner like at a later hour, so it kind of pushes it to where he comes in later.
Sure. Well, let's get to it. Let's see here.
That's something else I've been doing too, is getting caught up on TV shows.
Yeah. Right now, during this everyone stay at home thing going on, it's a good time to do that. So,
yep.
All right, so I'm going to play the first EVP.
How's it going? How's it going, Connie? How's it going, Todd? Who else we got in here? Is that we got right now?
That's out. That's all that's in chat. It says we got 4.
Yeah, so we got a couple people not saying nothing yet. Yeah, it says there's 4 watching, and it don't count us. Even if we've got the tab open, it doesn't count us. So.
Yeah, I didn't figure it would. Yeah.
Yeah, so we got a couple more hanging out in here, which is normal. I mean, it's normal to have a couple people that they'll just watch, but they'll just stay back and not talk.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I got no problem with that.
It is what it is.
Man, your camera picture is looking really good tonight, brother.
Thanks, man. I've been playing around with it, trying to get the because like around my head, I keep seeing these bleeps and as the beard grows in, I'm seeing a little
with the blue screen.
green. Yeah, with the green screen, it's messing it up. So I've been trying to adjust it. That's what I was doing. Then I was like, oh crap, I'm late.
All right, let's get this first one playing here. That's. Hang on a second. That's not sounding good. All right, do you hear the whisper?
Yeah, I hear something there.
All right.
It's like too close to the microphone.
Am I distorting it?
Yeah, I was going to
Let's
say
do
you might
this.
have to pull back away from the microphone.
I'll turn the volume down on the cell phone. How about that?
Yeah.
That's better.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something definitely underneath.
Yeah, it's saying kill for me.
Really?
Yes.
Whoa. Yeah, I do hear that.
It's a female voice. All right, now the background story on that one. And if the people watching want me to play it again, please, ask. I got no problem with that. The background story on that is we were doing an investigation in someone's home. We would the paranormal. We would go out and actually investigate people's houses and that sort of thing, businesses. If people wanted us to come out, we never charged anything for it because, you know as well as I do, if you're doing the paranormal thing and you get paid to do it, most of those groups are. Oh, good. Connie can hear it too. That's awesome. Most of those groups they get to be to the point where they're too tempted to fake it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, we're getting paid for it, so we got to make sure we give them some evidence.
Right. See, and we could actually go in there trying to debunk everything as possible. Mm-hmm. We try to prove that it's not before.
See, that's the key. A lot of people go, oh, you're just going in and you're making more out of it than what it is. No, that's where I differ from most. When I went the 23rd of December, we went to Psycho Ghost Tracker's cousin's house.
Okay.
Now, some of the stories there was a lamp moving on its own, a 150-pound boxing bag moving on its own.
Oh, is that the one that was up in the attic that you were telling me about? Okay.
Okay. And then his aunt waking up and being held down by a black figure.
Okay.
And also seeing an apparition of a black shadow figure in her bedroom.
Okay.
So first thing I do, as soon as I walk in, the first thing I do is I walk over to the lamp and they're like, see, it's moving. And the first thing I do, I blow my vape right by the lamp. Guess what happens to the vape? Straight to the ceiling. What's that tell you?
That's got an updraft.
It's an updraft right there. You being a fireman, you understand what an updraft is. And for most people that don't know, a room has a natural airflow in it. A lot of people don't realize any room has a natural airflow. And what happens is it just happens that the vents are actually on that wall side. So it creates a suction and pulls the rest of the air in the room up that corner of the wall.
Right.
So if this right here happens to be the lamp and the wind's blowing on it, we get this.
Right.
And
that
was the first thing I did. I walked in, I debunked that, kind of crushed them, because they wanted to believe that there was a haunting. And I said, sure. It still could be, but that is not one. So when I go in, the first thing I want to do is I want to debunk as much as I can. We go upstairs. I put the GoPro down and I'm aimed directly at the punching bag. I got it squared in frame. I'm sitting on a tripod. Camera's not moving. I set down my EDI monitor right next to it. Brandon puts down his makeshift REM pod that he didn't realize every time there's a vibration, it's going to go off.
Oh, no.
It was one of those makeshift. It's the style where it goes around the doorknob, and if somebody turns the doorknob, it'll make contact and it'll go off.
Right.
So that's going off in the video. And then at one point he says, dude, I just felt something right here by my leg. Oh, look, the bag's moving. I got the bag on camera. It's not moving. What was happening, and it's not to discredit Brandon or put him down. Okay, so don't take it that way. He honestly believed the bag was moving, and here's why. When you've got a fixed item, and then you've got a light that moves around that fixed item, what happens to the shadow?
Especially with an IR, the shadow moves.
Shadow looks like it's moving,
right?
Which tricks the mind into thinking movement is there.
Right, sure. So, your mind's trying to figure. Your mind assigns what it it's matrix.
Exactly.
Right.
So I showed him that it was basically nothing more than a trick of the eye with the shadows creating a false motion. And then what I did was, to even prove it more, is we were going to go down to the bedroom and do an EVP and a spirit box and that stuff there. So I reared back and nailed this bag full throttle. Okay, this bag is swinging back and forth. We go downstairs, we do our spirit box, and we're getting some weird things happening. I had some weird stuff happen to me upstairs, which I've never experienced, and I'll go back to that. But
okay.
We hear noises up in the attic directly over us where we were sitting earlier. And it was kind of weird because, no one was up there. It was just me, Brandon, and then his cousin and his cousin's friends. And we could hear something move on the wood floor up in the attic.
Right.
So we head back up there, and when we walk in, they're freaking out because the bag's still moving. So what that also did is it disproved 100% that somebody can hit that bag, and 20 minutes later you go back up there and that bag's still moving.
Well, yeah, it's got momentum. I mean, it's got weight to it, so it's going to. I mean, inertia.
Exactly.
It was going to carry it.
So that 150-pound bag hanging by a chain over a 2x4 strapped to the ceiling rafters can actually be moving 20 minutes later. So if you leave the room and then you come back and it's moving all of a sudden, that doesn't mean that a ghost moved it. It means that somebody probably bumped it or hit it, and then they didn't realize when they come back in, it was still able to move.
Well, and also with it being, upstairs in the attic, right. You get a good heavy sized vehicle driving down the road, semi-truck, whatever. You could vibrate that thing into movement.
It's actually about a quarter mile off of the road. So I wouldn't say it's actually a quarter mile off the road, up on the top of a ravine. So it's high enough that any kind of vibration,
that's not going to happen. Sure.
So we proved that also was debunked. The third thing was we did hear that sound in the attic. So I went over and I looked, and there is a shelf, or it's actually like a coffee table that's sitting at an angle, and on top of it is a shelf. Well, as soon as I look, I heard what sounded like wood against wood moving, like somebody was sliding a piece of wood across wood, or even like my cup going across the top. You hear that's kind of the sound that we heard.
Okay.
But it didn't sound like it was directly on the floor. It sounded like it was something up there had rubbed, but it was loud enough we audibly heard it. So I look around, and everything's pretty dusty up there. And I could see these two L-shaped marks on that coffee table. And the shelf was sitting on the coffee table.
Okay.
I went back through the video and looked, and it wasn't up there when we went up there, but they did move something from the chair, and they put it on an uneven surface.
Oh.
So with me hitting that punching bag and that punching bag moving, it's probably creating vibration in the attic.
Sure.
And the table slides down. Now, could it have been something moving it? Yes. But I'm going to err on the side of caution, and I'm going to debunk it was sliding on an uneven surface.
Well, absolutely. I mean, did you guys catch anything else that was unexplainable? Anything on EVP, Spirit Box, anything like that?
Spirit Box, we heard Joker once.
Okay.
But I found out he was also scanning at a real slow frequency, and he was scanning FM. I always do AM.
Oh, no. Do AM at a faster.
I always do AM on a faster, and he was at I think he was at 100 sweep rate on FM. And that's slow enough that you're going to catch And something else I found out, that the reason I debunked that as being paranormal, I come home and I did a little search on my digital radio in the garage, and Chicago, even though you're not supposed to bleed over one frequency before your channel and one frequency after your channel,
Right.
Chicago bleeds over 4 frequencies before and 4 frequencies after, which means anything you're hearing on a spirit box could actually be contaminated by radio personalities. So I basically debunked pretty much all of that. Now, when I had my spirit box in the Faraday bag that blocks out all radio frequency, it was nothing but white noise the whole time.
Right.
So I kind of crushed them with that. The only weird thing we had was, as I was sitting in the chair, and come to find out the chair I was sitting in was the original owner's chair.
Okay.
As I was sitting in that, I kept having, the only way I could explain it is like all of a sudden you have these flash memories.
Sure.
Like you see, like if somebody's talking about something and then all of a sudden it triggers your memory to remember that time that they're talking about.
Okay.
So they were talking about this old man. And as they're talking about this old man, all of a sudden in my mind, it triggered to where I'm looking out over a front porch at farmland. And I'm like, okay, that's odd. I don't have memories of this, ever have memories of that. And then I smell cigar smoke heavily. And at that point, I asked everyone, I says, take a deep breath and tell me what you smell. And I didn't tell them. And all of a sudden somebody goes, smells like a pipe or a cigar. And then they were all like, yep, that's exactly what I was smelling. I was smelling that kind of appley cigar smell where
Sure.
it's like almost like a green apple. We smelled that. And it was something that I couldn't explain away because it just came all of a sudden. The only other thing we had besides that was when we were while we were up there, we walked up, it was 56.1 degrees in the attic.
Okay.
There are windows, and one of the first things I did when I walked up there was blew vape around the windows to see if there's any kind of drafts.
Sure.
This is a new construction house. It was an old farmhouse that was torn down and new construction put on it.
Okay.
So everything seemed to be, probably 7-8 months old. It's that new of construction. So I went around, made sure there's 2 windows, no leaks on either window. Now we're sitting up there. We walk in. Temperature was 56.1. My EDI data logger has a temperature meter on it.
So it's got the ambient air instead of trying to use the digital laser, which only does surface. Okay.
Exactly. And it has a pressure sensor and a basically like a hydrometer also. If the air temperature changes and the moisture changes, or the air pressure itself changes, it'll trigger lights. While we were up there, we noticed the blue lights come on, which indicate a pressure change, like an air pressure shift. Now, the whole time we were in the attic, there was 4 of us there. 2 were standing over here, 1 by the window. I'm sitting in the old man's chair. Directly across from me was a window or a door that was open. So hot air from upstairs would be coming through this door. So you would expect the temperature in the room to do what? Get warmer, correct?
Get warmer. Yeah, absolutely. Especially with you guys up there. Yeah.
15 minutes, we watched a 12-degree temperature drop in 15 minutes.
And seeing you're in the attic, so heat should always raise anyway, and you guys are expelling you're expelling air.
We're creating heat also in a very small area.
Right. Well, I mean, and that's 98.6 degrees coming every time you expel air. So you're in a small, you shouldn't be dropping 12 degrees, brother.
No, we watched it. It went down to 46.1. And then we watched it. It ended up finally, when we walked out of there, it was down to 41.2 degrees. Now we went from 56.1 to 42.1. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good indication right there. That's
There's something, and that was about the time that happened, was when I was having these flashes of seeing things. So at this point, I'm kind of drawing conclusions that maybe what this is it is the old man that owned the farm.
Hey guys, Taylor Marshall. I'm sorry to interrupt you real quick,
No,
brother.
go ahead, man.
Please hold this. I want to hear it. But Taylor
Anytime.
Marshall just joined the room. That's my nephew.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Taylor. And everyone, my mom and dad are watching. They probably won't be. They're watching on their TV, so they won't be typing. But my mom and dad actually joined the show. So, hi, mom and dad.
That could be the two that were
Yeah,
showing,
that could be.
but weren't. Yeah,
yep,
that could
sure
be the
could've.
two. I didn't
Sure could've.
look how many we
So,
got now.
We've got
Oh,
7 watching.
7. So no, that may not have been them.
So
with what I had, because I'm sitting there and I'm trying to put together what's happened and what I'm seeing and what I'm feeling, and the only thing I could put together is I was seeing what maybe that old man saw in the morning or at night.
could be.
Because the
Yeah,
sun was
absolutely.
low. The sun was low. I couldn't tell if it was rising or setting, but it was that low light level. So my question was what I was seeing was maybe that man's favorite moment of the day when he was sitting out on a porch with a stogie and his rocking chair looking out over his farm. So that makes me think, okay, maybe what this is that it is the farmer and he's confused by why someone's in his bedroom. Maybe
Yeah.
that's why she was held down. So we went in there and we got a couple names that come through. And they weren't names that you would expect to hear on a radio station. What was the one name? Claude. One of the names was Claude.
That's a back in the day name right there.
That's a back in the day name. And then another name that come through was, I think it was McDermott. So I did a little searching while we were out there. Now there was a McDermott farm in that area of Valparaiso that was one of the largest farms in Valpo at the time.
Okay.
So at the time where the old house would have been there. So it's possible that back in the early 30s, 40s, that was a McDermott farm.
It could have been. Yeah, very well could have been.
So at that point, we kind of figure, okay, if this has enough power to hold her on the bed, we should probably smudge the house. So Brandon got the sage and started walking through it. Now, this is the one thing I was able to debunk 90% of
Their claims.
issues.
Yeah, their claims. Okay.
So we debunked the moving light. We debunked the moving bag. We debunked the sound that we heard. We debunked the EVPs because of that. But couldn't debunk what I experienced with my own mind.
Sure.
Couldn't debunk the mystery smell. Couldn't debunk the temperature change. That was a huge one.
That's a huge one.
That's something that's huge. Yeah. I mean, that's a environmental change that is so, for you to be able to drop 12 degrees in a room in like 15 minutes, that takes a significant amount of cooling to happen.
It does. Now, there was no attic fan or anything, attic vent or nothing like that up there. Okay.
Nope. No. They have an attic fan that you have to manually turn on. That was off. I made sure that was off. Yeah. There was no ridge vent that led up, because when I blew my vape, it stayed there and it hovered. It didn't escape through a ridge vent.
Okay.
That's a lot of people don't realize this actually helps you when you're doing that kind of stuff.
Well, heck yeah.
Because I mean, you can blow it at a window and see if there's any movement. But then the last thing that we really couldn't debunk was, as he was doing the saging in that room, they have 4 hunting dogs that are in kennels out back.
Okay.
These dogs don't bark. They don't make noise. The only time you'll hear them bark is if a deer comes right up to the kennel, and they'll bark and scare them away.
Right.
He went out and did that room, and when he did that room, all these dogs started howling like a wolf would howl at the moon.
Oh, and hunting dogs are trained not to bark unless they're on a trail.
Exactly. And these dogs don't do that. We're sitting in the living room, and all of a sudden I looked at his cousin, and his cousin says, "Is that our dogs?" And I said, "Yeah." And we actually got up and went out there, and they were howling something fierce.
That's wild. That's wild.
We couldn't explain that one. Okay, that was one we couldn't explain, and we were there for 2.5 hours and never once heard a peep out of those dogs. But as he's saging the room right next to their kennel, these dogs start howling.
That's crazy.
That
That's
was
something
kinda
else. Yeah.
something.
Because,
Yeah.
well, yeah, I would go with that. Yeah. So from the investigator point of view, would you have classed that as intelligent or residual? Where would you go with
Honestly,
that?
if I would classify it, I would say I need a little more, maybe
Another visit in there.
another visit to see, maybe a little bit more of a controlled visit to where I don't have two younger guys that are wanting to film and wanting to put out a video on YouTube to get famous.
Sure.
That could be contaminating things, could be setting things up.
Well, right.
Um,
Right. I mean, yeah.
Maybe if we didn't have them, it would have been a little bit, better. So I would, for myself, to put my reputation, my name on it, I would ask for another investigation. But
the
if I
question.
was to say at this point right now, I would say residual hunt.
Now,
I
see
would
the
say
other
residual.
you were talking about the cigar smoke when you were sitting in the guy's chair.
Right.
What I would have to ask, what was the fabric?
Leather. It was a leather wingback recliner.
Yeah, they're not going to
No,
hold that kind of smell that long.
nope. And I fluffed this chair up to get the dust off it and pounded on it quite hard when
Right.
we first got in there. It was when we were back in there that it came out. So there's no way if my big ass flopped down in a chair, if there was any smell in it, I would have smelled it immediately. And it was an old wingback leather recliner. And now Brandon has it in his house, and he says every now and then he'll smell that.
Right.
But he said that they haven't heard any noise in the attic, but she still swears up and down that somebody's holding her in bed. And I basically talked to him and told him that maybe she needs to let her doctor know this is happening because it may be a chemical imbalancement in her brain. Because what a lot of people don't realize, if you wake up and you feel paralyzed, that could actually be a serious neurological issue because your body creates a chemical that paralyzes you when you're in REM sleep.
Yeah.
And then as you start to wake up, your brain recognizes the activity picking up and then it releases the chemical to unparalyze you.
Yes.
And if you're waking up and not able to move, your brain could be not releasing it fast enough.
Correct.
Which could indicate a neurological issue.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, and it could be something just as simple as if you wake up too quickly out of a deep sleep, if you're in REM,
right,
and something startles you awake, well, your subconscious, your conscious are awake at the same time. Your body doesn't know how to work when that happens.
Yeah,
so,
it creates a paranoia.
Absolutely.
I'm a sleepwalker, so I know about that a little bit. Where people have woke me up and I'm like frozen in place, and I'm trying to figure out why the hell am I here, and why do I feel like I'm laying on the ground, but yet I'm standing up looking at you.
Yeah,
So and that's what I kind of tried to get him to explain to her, and I told him, from what I saw, there wasn't enough for me to even. I've got the footage still. I haven't released it. I've debated releasing it. My fear is releasing it may look. I don't want to make him look stupid because he's sitting there going, "Man, that bag moved. It moved. It moved," and it didn't. And I don't want to make him, look stupid.
Well, yeah. I mean, give the guy. I mean, you got to give the guy a break.
Right.
He's trying to get out there on YouTube and try to make a name. So,
and
you don't want to embarrass the guy.
Right. And there really isn't enough because all the footage from when we were downstairs, my GoPro microphone adapter had come loose. The plug on it had come loose. So I lost all audio of any recording in there.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, which I was able to debunk that by, seeing what was happening. The case that I had, there's a little microphone box that goes in the case, and then it hooks up with an L-shaped USB-C to the GoPro.
Yeah.
And then your 1/4-inch jack plugs in, or your 1/8-inch jack plugs in to the microphone into that box. Well, the problem was I wasn't pushing that 1/8 inch into the box until it clicked twice. I only pushed it in until it clicked once.
Okay.
And it'll make a connection, but if you bump it, it shuts it off like that. And
Answer a few questions here.
no, go right ahead.
Hey, Connie. Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, I've heard about the salt.
Yep.
The sage definitely helps. Sweetgrass. If you're going to smudge if you've got some negative energies, sweetgrass is the way to go. Todd, no, actually, I kind of our group disbanded. That I helped found the group. We were called Manchester City Paranormal Society, and it's the same old story like anything else. You get busy. I was working 2 jobs for the fire department and working for a private ambulance company at the same time. The other people in the group, we all just got busy with real life things. We didn't have, and you got to dedicate some time to this. I mean, as Joker can tell you, to sit and listen to a 2-hour investigation, just to listen to the audio takes 6 hours.
Right.
And then you got to try to do it when the house is quiet. And I've got problems hearing anyway, because too many years of sirens.
And video footage, if you want to do it the right way, you got to pretty much go frame by frame. So a 2-hour 4K video with 60 frames per second, that's 60 frames in a second. You got to watch all those frames to see if there's anything moving. So you can literally spend a week reviewing 1 2-hour video.
And you got to dedicate to it. So. Yeah. I mean, it's a thing that, I got too busy for it, honestly. I became a Freemason while I was doing paranormal, and that takes some time. That takes a lot of time, believe it or not. So, no, I didn't have a chance to. Connie says these hauntings are real.
Yeah.
I live in a haunted. Absolutely. I'm a believer. I am. I don't mind saying that, but when we'd get a call to someone's house or a business or whatever the case, you have to do your due diligence, right? You have to go in there. You have to try to prove that it's not real first.
Right.
Let's look for the scientific explanation, and then anything that's not explainable then becomes paranormal, right? Because then you got normal. Well, and the word para, those first letters mean outside. So it's outside normal. Yeah,
it's hard to say. See, no, Todd, I'm not with anyone. I just, I'll accompany them if they, want me to go with them. Like,
I'm going to say goodnight to some grandbabies. I'll be right back.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
Thanks, brother.
No problem. Brandon from Psycho Ghost Trackers is a good friend, and
you want to say hi?
Hang on. I'll finish that in a second. Yep.
All right, everybody. This is Hadley. This is the youngest granddaughter. Say hi, Hadley.
She's cute.
And this is the other one. Hi. This is Avery. This is the oldest. Everyone say hi. Wave, say hi.
Hi.
Okay. Good night, babies. Give me a kiss. Good night.
Good night,
babies.
Good night. That was cute. So, Brandon from Psycho Ghost Tracker, he's actually been on a show, ghost hunting show. He had his, and with me, people in the area that do paranormal like to have me with because of the fact that I've had my near-death experience, so I know what I experienced. And I know what I saw, what I felt, what I heard. So I know that when you're gone, you can still hear what's going on here for a time period.
Yeah.
So, and they know that I'm like a magnet, it seems like, to paranormal. Lately, what I've been having personally is I keep seeing 2 things. I'll see either a black movement across the room, like a small movement, almost like a black orb, or I'll see a light go across behind my computer screen where it looks like a lit up orb. Right. And then when I look, I'll actually see it fade away as I look. So, there's things that I have, and I don't consider myself special. I think that it just has something to do with me coming back from having the near death.
Sure.
That spirits are kind of drawn.
Absolutely.
So, for me, they like having me there because they know I'm going to look at it from a scientific standpoint. I know that there are things as far as hauntings, I am a firm believer there are. But I try to explain away as much as I can from a scientific level,
Yeah.
because that
that's-
way, when I do get to that paranormal where something I can't explain, something that I can't find a reason to just dismiss it,
right.
it becomes more of a real evidence than somebody that goes, "Oh, did you hear that? There was a pop over there." Yeah, we're walking on an old wood floor.
Right.
It makes popping
It's
sounds
gonna
when
make noises.
you know the biggest thing I hear is, "Oh, did you hear that? Somebody's walking up the steps." No, we walked up the steps and the step dislodged and it just popped back into its normal habitat. And people don't realize that that is a real thing that happens. So I don't chase every pop click or anything like that.
Right.
Now, when we were in the Palace Theater, I will tell you, when we were in the Palace,
Darren Gary, right off of Broadway.
there is a piano up on the stage, and I could clearly hear ding, 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 ding. Now, we were the only ones in there, and I did go and kind of look to see. We were the only ones in there, and I know a lot of people that have played on that piano, and it don't tink, tink, tink.
I don't think dripping water or anything from the roof being gone.
Thing, you press the keys and you don't even get a sound. The keys are stuck down. So for me to hear a ding, ding, ding is not normal. And it was clear. Ding, ding, ding.
Wow, that's crazy, dude.
And the thing is, someone said, well, it could have been a rat running across the strings. Yes, it could have. Except for when I was looking at it, there was no signs of a rat. It was all dusted. You would see paw prints across.
You would see footprints. Yeah. Sure.
You could see marks from where rodents are moving around something that's been sitting in. The dust is about that thick in the small areas and that thick in the deep areas. So
when I watched your guys' video of that Palace Theater, I just knew. I mean, just watching you guys figuring out a way into the basement of that place. It had to be like opening a tomb in Egypt.
Yeah.
I mean, just going back in time, just seeing all that stuff was really cool.
Well,
there was no doubt in my mind. Just by watching the video, I had the feeling that place was had to be active.
Yeah,
it has to be.
Yeah, I know for a fact it is. I could feel it as we were. There were certain spots, and like I said, I don't call myself medium or clairvoyant, but I do have some things that I know. I can feel, like if I go around a person, I can feel if they're bad just by the pressure in my chest. Yeah. I know that when I was standing there, I kept feeling this tingling in the back of my neck, like somebody was watching me. You know, that feeling that you'll turn around and there's your cat staring at you from behind.
Right.
Or I'll get that feeling and I'll look over and here's my dog looking up at me. You know that feeling. I'll get that. And for me, I could feel that. And when we were in there, I felt it the whole time we were in there. When we were down in the basement, I felt it strong. There was a strong presence there. Now, I don't know if maybe it was one of the maintenance guys that's still working. It's possible.
It could be.
But I know that place has been underwater for a long time. And the fact that there wasn't water down there was shocking. I know about a dozen explorers that have went to go to that basement and they couldn't get in because it was 4 feet deep. Okay. We went down there. There was no water anywhere. So it was cool to be able to go in there.
Right.
And actually see that. What do you say?
Hey, Todd, my take on it is, I mean, having the gifts, quote unquote, like you put there, it can be due to near-death experience. Absolutely. Right. I've been clinically dead several times in my life. It's interesting nonetheless, but also I'm a firm believer that every single human being has this ability. It's just, what is your ability to tap into it, right? I mean, after all, we're animals. We're human, but nonetheless, we are animals. So over amount of time, and I'm sure Joker will agree with this, technology has made it to where we've gotten rid of our seventh sense. Our way back ancestors. There's a reason why they didn't venture very far outside the ring of fire, the light caused by the ring of a fire.
Right.
We've gotten away from those that need to be able to tap into our senses, and
there's still civilizations though, like the Native American. They still, and kind of what you were saying about technology, yes, but also we are indoctrined not to believe in what we can't see.
Well, sure we are. We're trying to just try to explain it away.
When we're a kid and we say our imaginary friend or the boogeyman come out of the closet, we're told, oh, there's no such thing. And we're indoctrined by our parents not to believe in what we can't see. And, with me, I don't consider it really a gift, what Todd was asking. I don't consider it to be a gift. I think that it's more so when I had my accident, I still have a consciousness of remembering what I saw. And maybe it is because I once again, I don't want it to make it sound like I hate trying to make myself sound like I'm better than anyone else. That's one thing I'm not. I had actually some brain damage, and what the doctor was amazed by, and that was part of the reason they put me in a coma, is to kind of protect myself. So I was in a coma, but they made sure I stayed in it and did a medically induced on top of it, just until I was healed enough, because they were worried about the brain damage I had because of the swelling of the brain and everything. I actually had damaged part of my brain that they thought that I was never going to be recovered from. All I had was burst suppression, which is where on a normal EEG, it's doing this. Mine was like, and then flat, and then
that's not
flat.
Good. That's never good.
And basically, about I think he said probably about 2 weeks in, all of a sudden my brain was showing a lot of activity, and he was kind of concerned that it was actually going to be something like a brain hemorrhage.
Okay.
So after doing another CT scan and another EEG and that, the doctor said he believed that a part of my brain that normally would not be active was active. And he believes that is what was allowing the damaged part to heal.
Rest. Absolutely.
So basically, we all know we only use about 12% of our brain power. And what I wonder is if because of that and the way my brain started operating differently, that maybe that didn't open me up to things. Because even before, when I was a younger kid, I believed in paranormal. I believed in, because I had seen things that I had saw a dead relative walk right through the wall away from me. My grandfather died in my garage.
Okay.
And I watched him walk right through the wall of the garage, right over to where I was working on the car, and point at my garage door, and then turn around and walk right back into the wall. Now, the reason why he did that is I was working on my car and I had the garage door closed, but I had the window and the back door open.
Right.
My grandfather had a heart attack while working on the car in the garage the same way that I was working on the car. So it was his way of telling me, open the big door. Don't do like he did.
He was trying to warn you, brother.
Even as a young kid, I remember that, so, and even before that, I had some things.
Talon, to comment on your post there, Talon says a few years ago, he kept hearing his name being said outside his room. But no one was standing there. No one said his name, and he always wanted to know who said his name. Talon, I'm sure you've been told, and I'm quite sure that your mom's told you, and your grandparents there. You had a great uncle who passed away in the bathroom in the hallway there, and you had a great grandmother that passed away in that house as well. So both of them were alive when you were younger. So they're probably just visiting and saying hi. They're probably just checking up on you, son. That's probably what it is.
That's very possible. And I'm a firm believer that kids, until the age where they stop seeing imaginary friends, are actually seeing spirits.
Absolutely.
I'm a firm believer that that's the case.
Absolutely. I have no problem believing that, because see, they haven't learned to start it. They just take things as they come, right? That's what kids do.
Right.
You know, they just take it at face value, whatever it is.
They see things from an innocent level.
That's it.
They
don't. They don't try to explain it. It was the wind. It was a door. It was the storm outside. It was a dog. You know, I mean, kids see and they're more open to it because they haven't learned.
Their brains aren't developed enough to dismiss things. A child cannot make good choices because they don't have the reasoning ability until they hit puberty. And that's what puberty is all about, is that the brain's chemistry changes, and that's why the happen in the body, because the brain chemistry is changing it. And I'm a firm believer that that's why, you know, a lot of people see things differently from that time. And that's about the time where I started having the things. I think I was 13 when I saw my grandfather. He passed away when I was 9. And then I saw him when I was 13. And that, to me, I don't know whether maybe that was when I was first able to see things, you know.
Could be.
On a conscious level, I should say.
Sure.
On a conscience level.
So, but the EVP that I played, we got a call from someone. They were having some activity in a house. Pretty much what you were describing, you know, the poltergeist type stuff, where they want to move stuff around and they want to hide your keys in the freezer or you know, stuff like that. That was the only EVP we caught on that 3-hour investigation. You know, we couldn't get it to answer any questions. We couldn't get it to interact. So I kind of went with residual. Excuse me. Now, we always had a team of people that under every investigation, we'd go to a library. One of us would, or a few of us would, and we would look up the history of any address from a library in that town, as far as who lived there, any news articles about it. You know, you go to a library, I mean, the wealth of knowledge you can find. And we did that with every investigation we did, whether it was a business or a house. You know, we went through and made sure that we did some investigating about the place's history to see if it would correspond with what we found while we were doing our investigation. I would say that even though I've got a plethora of EVPs here to play, we found most places not haunted more often than we found that were. So I'm going to play a next one. This next one, to kind of set this up, I won't tell you what it says, so you guys you're going to hear several different voices saying one phrase. For a term, it's kind of goofy term to use, but it was ghosting. Okay. I have found that some EVPs, when spirits are trying to use your energy so they can speak, they will repeat what you're saying while you're saying it. You hear more than one voice saying it. Now in this, you're going to hear me speaking. This was done at what my paranormal society called the training grounds. My dad's side of the family has a family graveyard up in southern Indiana. And something like my 6th great grandfather's buried there. The family that came from Scotland and settled the southern Indiana area, they're buried there. So that place, it's not if or when you're going to get something there. It's how intense is it going to be? And if you're going to run out of somewhere scared, it's going to be this place. So we take people up there. Hey, Robert, how you doing, man? Thanks for coming in.
Oh, hey, Robert, how's it going?
So this next one is from there. So.
Hey, Kevin. What are you feeling, bud? What are you doing? Hey, Kevin. What are you feeling?
Okay. What we thought it's saying is don't mark them, Roger. So usually every single time I walk into the family graveyard, about 5 minutes after, I'd always walk in first before anyone else was allowed in. I just wanted to set the family at ease. Hey, look, it's just me, right? It's just your relative from way beyond when you were alive, and we're just stopping by. We're going to pay our respects, and we're going to treat the area correct. We're going to clean up any trash we come across, and if it's okay with you, we're going to bring some people in to spend some time with you, to visit.
Can you play that again? Because I heard something different than that.
Sure, I would love to, brother. I would love to.
Let me see.
But let me get back to it. Somehow
Okay.
I made a mistake, got away from it off my phone here.
Hey, Kevin. What are you feeling, bud? What do you get?
Now I hear don't mark them, but when you said, "Hey, Kevin," I hear what?
What are you feeling, bud? What do you get?
Now that may be. That may
When
be.
you said, "Hey, Kevin," it said what?
It
I
could
heard
be.
clearly what?
It
but-
could be.
I did
Now-
hear don't mark them.
Now, though, the funny thing about this EVP is this: right before the, of course, this is taken from the actual audio file. You don't hear the whole audio file. Right before this happens, I say to this guy Kevin, he was trying out for the group. He ended up being kind of a whack job, kind of weird. He was out there even by our standards, and so, but right before this, and I just met the guy. I mean, this is his first time out with us. He was brought in by someone else in the group. They said, "Hey, this guy's solid." They brought him out, not so much, but I called him Mark. Now, accidentally, right before this happens, I say, "Hey, Mark," and then I realize my mistake. I'm like, "Well, why did I call this guy Mark?" And then I call him, "Hey, Kevin." So his name's Kevin, of course. So
Maybe that's why I was saying don't mark him.
right,
Not them.
See, that changes right. So does it mean don't mark him as in don't point him out? Or does it mean you got his name wrong, Roger?
Or it could be that his whatever you're hearing is named Kevin, because when you say Kevin, it says what?
Now that could be. That could be. I don't recall any names on the headstones in that graveyard with the name Kevin, but it's possible.
Right.
A lot of the headstones, unfortunately, are missing. Vandals, teenagers. There's Civil War. There's Civil War veterans buried in the cemetery. It's how far back it goes. Way back even before that. So, our family kind of settled the southern Indiana area before it was it was still considered Indian territory when the Montgomerys came here. So, in any case, I thought, so I said the word Mark because some part of me was picking up what the spirit, maybe I was picking that up, what they were about to say. Who knows? But we found that one to be kind of interesting as well. And like I said, that cemetery it will creep you out. Funny story about that place, talking about, and I don't know if Joker's ever been in a place that he's gotten creeped out from or not, but we're out there. It's the middle of the night. It was cloudy, full moon, close to Halloween, type atmosphere. And there's fog. There's a river or a creek not far from the cemetery. The cemetery's up on a rise above this creek. And so we're out there. We're walking through the cemetery. We're training people. I mean, we used it, to stay in practice. Make sure you don't whisper, use the equipment correctly. I mean, this is where we go to do this.
Stomach grumbles, make sure to notate it. You kick a leaf, make sure you notate it. Yep.
Right. Yep. So, just to stay on our game, that's where we'd go to practice. And let's face it, the evidence afterward was always worth the trip because it's a good drive. It's an hour away from here. So it's worth the drive because the evidence was always great. So we're in this graveyard, man, and then it's got to be 1 o'clock in the morning, and it's creepy and it's cold out, and there's a fog across the ground, and all of a sudden you hear this noise just come crashing through these woods that are right because this thing sits on the backside of a farmer's field in the middle of the woods, and man, there's people running for the gate, headed for the cars. I'm trying to figure out. It was a bunch of wild turkeys that were roosting up in the trees above us.
Oh, God.
If you've ever heard a wild turkey come crashing through trees, they don't care that the branch is there. They're coming through.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, it'll scare the crap out of you when you're not expecting it in the middle of the night.
And honestly, some of those noises that wild turkeys make are scary as hell at night anyways.
Yeah, they are.
I've heard them, and man, they creep you the hell out. It's like, what the hell is that? You get that weird sound they do, and it'll freak you out.
All right, so I'm going to play this next one, and this one's going to be a good one. You guys should be able to hear this with no issue. And I'll tell you about and I'm not going to say anything until after I play this. So here you go.
off and the sun started again.
Mm-hmm.
The power ran off and the sun started again.
It's singing.
The power ran off and the sun started again.
Mm-hmm.
Splish splash, I was taking a bath.
Yes.
Holy hell, that was crystal clear. Splish splash, I was taking a bath. Now that's
So-
funny.
We got a call from a gentleman's club in
Hmm.
downtown Louisville, Kentucky. And the history of this place is it was the above the bar area. The building's another 5 floors up. It was used as a men's hotel, men's only hotel back in the 20s. So vagrants, drunks, pretty much the
Ladies of the night.
right.
Right.
So
Everyone
Right.
heard the same
Just
thing.
quiet, yeah. So while we're in this place and my team, we split up because the place was so big we needed every investigator we had. We didn't always take everybody out with us because some places are just too small, right? You don't want to take everybody in someone's 2-bedroom home when you've got 15 investigators.
You got to play that again so Connie could hear it. She just stepped away.
All right.
She said, "I'm back."
All right, here you go. It's still keyed up. Here you go, Connie.
The power ran off and the sun started again.
Mm-hmm.
The power ran off and the sun started again.
Mm-hmm.
The power ran off and the sun started again.
Mm-hmm.
So you could definitely hear the audio difference, right? You hear the two
Yeah.
investigators that are talking, and so most of us are upstairs in the old hotel part that is still in the same condition, same light fixtures and everything is back in the 20s.
Right.
This crew, they're in the basement of this gentleman's club where the dancers go to get changed and to their different outfits, whatever be the case, or to change out of street clothes into something by far less. And it was storming in Louisville. Now, downtown Louisville, the closer you get to the Ohio River, floods terribly. It always has. Hey, Troy Montgomery. That's my brother.
Oh, what's up, Troy?
Hello, Troy. So they're walking through the basement. Now, the guy's voice that you hear, the investigator, he's a musician and he's a jokester. This guy, if he would have audibly heard someone, and as they're walking through water. So if he would have heard it, and Troy can attest to this, he's there in the room. Hey, Troy, if Nick would have heard someone say "Splish Splash, I was taking a bath" on investigation, he'd have kept singing it, right?
Right.
I mean, you met Nick. So the fact that Nick doesn't key in on this and he doesn't keep singing during it, he doesn't continue the song, right there says that no one actually verbally heard this until we went through the evidence. So they're walking through this flooded basement in this Louisville strip club, and that's what they get. They get "Splish Splash, I was taking a bath." So the ghost that was there apparently had a sense of humor,
Yeah.
and
Sounds like it.
I would definitely call that a legitimate 100% intelligent haunt.
Yeah, that's a class A there for sure. Because
That's good, right? I mean,
that's a class A there because that was crystal clear, and it's funny because now that I know that they were walking through a basement that was full of water, that makes it even funnier.
yeah.
That's
Yeah. I mean, so I'll play it again, but so that now that you know what it's saying, so you can hear it, but you can hear their footsteps. You can hear Nick mumble something and the female investigator say something back.
Yeah,
You
she
can
goes,
hear the audio falls in between those two audio levels. Here, listen
Right.
again. Here we go again.
The power ran off and the sun started again.
Mm-hmm.
The power ran off and the sun started again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he said something about getting the power back on, and
Well-
she's like,
Well, what happened is, the power had gone out and they're walking through a puddle of water.
Yeah.
I think his comment had something to do with,
Need to get out of here before the
if
power,
power
comes
back on.
Yeah,
You're worried about getting shocked while standing in a basement that had ankle deep water in it.
yeah, because he
So-
said something about before the power gets back on.
Right.
And
Right.
she's like,
And further history about the building, there was a dancer, an exotic dancer who was killed in the building while she was working. Her boyfriend came through the door and
Oh.
shot her and killed her while she was on stage.
Oh.
So that's
Well, maybe she was downstairs taking a bath and they disturbed her. She's like,
following
splish,
us
splash,
around the
splash.
place, right? I mean, you got $1 for the jukebox, I mean, she was trying to get that, can you buy me a drink type thing, but yeah, absolutely. That was one of the best investigations we had. A good friend of mine, when we were upstairs investigating the older part of the building, they had double staircases on each floor, right? They were kind of offset on each level. You go up or down, and we're standing there, and he's got the high 8. We're using the old Sony high 8s because they had the best at the time. They had the best night vision that you could use for this, and Connie, it was absolutely that AVP is absolutely completely clear. It's unreal, and so we're chasing this. We can hear people walking up and down these stairs. Of course, there's nobody there. So we're chasing down this noise just to make sure that it would be the first time that we got to a place and we didn't have a paranormal kegger in the front yard, a bunch of pickup trucks with good old boys out there. We can't do an investigation during that, so we're just making sure someone wasn't playing a joke, right? So he's standing next to this staircase, and he's on the floor next to it. Staircase is right next to him, so the handrail is right next to his shoulder. Mm-hmm. And he's asking me a question, so I've turned and I'm talking to him and the camera. And you can see it on the tape. You can hear someone walk a few steps down some stairs, and they stop, and then you see the railing, the wood rail of the staircase lean out, and you can hear it creak, and it touches his arm. Like someone's reaching over and leaning against the staircase arm, and he just freezes, and he's got this look. He's like, it's touching me, isn't it? And I'm like, yeah, dude, it's touching you. And he's like, that's not funny. I mean, he just stands there. He doesn't move. He doesn't go in. He just stands there. And a couple seconds later, it comes back to the railing comes back up away from him, and you hear somebody walk back up the steps.
Oh wow!
But there was no apparition. There was no breathing sounds. There was just the sound of someone walking. And then that banister, the rail move and touch the guy. So that was all in that building that we got that EVP. And that was the only EVP that we captured the whole night.
Now, would you consider that residual?
No, I would not. I would not consider that residual. She, a spirit that has followed, and they're walking through water.
Well, no, I'm talking about the staircase, not the basement. The basement there, that sounded intelligent to me, that it was
definitely.
It was being comical. But with the staircase, they say a lot of your staircase travelers are residual because it's just a normal thing that they would do throughout their life.
Right.
Maybe they got halfway down and realized, shoot, I forgot something. I got to go back up.
That's a good point. And especially with the thunderstorm that was raging. Raging outside. With the lightning discharge, with that static electricity discharge,
that'll fuel a haunt big time.
And it probably led to the staircase actually moving it, but it's still being a residual. I would say it was residual. I would, because nothing up in those 5 floors above this club responded or tried to answered questions or.
Well, actually, Todd, what you said there. You actually get a better recording with an analog recorder, the old style, than you do the new. Because the problem with digital, and this is where I use digital, but I also have an analog that I've used too. And the reason for that is because digital, a lot of times will pick up finer sounds that an analog recorder won't. But the problem with digital is it could actually mute some of the paranormal EVP.
Yeah.
Because it sees it as background noise. And most digital recorders have a noise canceling circuit built into them.
Not only that, but they compress the audio into one audio level. So
exactly,
you're going to miss the EVP if you're using a small Olympus digital voice, for the office, taking notes type thing.
Now, see, I've got the Olympus, and I've caught stuff on it.
That was caught on an Olympus.
Yeah,
that was caught on that. But the Swiss Flash was caught on Olympus.
Right, but I've got a old Radio Shack micro cassette recorder, and you catch a hell of a lot
I bet
more
you
on
do.
that.
I bet you can. Yeah, I could agree with that. I bet
Because the main reason why is that when you're dealing with spirit world, you're dealing with, you know, more of an electricity, a magnetism, things of that nature, more elemental things. So with you dealing with spirits that can manipulate the magnetic field, they can manipulate the magnetic field that is used to make a recording. Because basically on all those tapes, that's basically just an iron ore coating on the tape, and then it gets magnetized in certain ways by the sounds, and that's what causes the sound to show up.
you. Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, I would say, yeah, I could see that.
yeah.
You know, I might have to
So,
try
I
that
mean,
one day with an
yeah,
old micro cassette recorder.
I actually I didn't use it on that last one that we did, and I wish I would have. I forgot the battery. I forgot the batteries at home, so I didn't have extra batteries. Normally I carry a bunch of extras, and I didn't this time. But normally if I go out, I'll take the analog recorder and the digital, and I'll put them right next to one another. And that way I could see if I pick up something on one that I don't on another. And you'd be surprised how much you will pick up on an analog that the digital canceled the sound out.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah, because it's like you said, it's got that noise, that background noise filter built in.
Right.
So a lot of the smaller Olympus recorders, and you
Mhm.
can't. There's no setting for you to turn the noise canceling off.
Right.
So it hears EVP. It hears it as background static or noise or that sort of thing.
Sometimes they're buried deep inside of the air noise, the white noise, the hiss that a digital recorder will get, which is just the airflow in the room.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of times it gets buried in there, and if you're not looking at it in waveform, like you use the Sony Soundforge, and if
Right.
you don't watch the waveform, you can completely miss it. Had I not been looking at the waveform when I was looking at that Callaway nursing home, I may not have noticed that there was another voice in between me and Flesh.
Oh, dude, that EVP was awesome though.
I
mean, it was loud.
Did you hear it backwards? I mean, when you play it backwards, it even says something. So I'm like, what the hell?
It's backwards. It says something different than it said when you played it forward.
Well, they both.
How is that possible? I've never heard of one do that before.
Here's the thing. One way sounds like two people talking. The other way sounds like one person talking.
Yes.
And both ways that you play it pertain to what was being said. Because Storm had just made a comment. He had found this book of nursing homes, and it went all the way back to the 50s. And he says, I'm going to save this. Because where we were at, the ceiling had already collapsed on the second floor, and it was about to collapse on the first floor. And if that would have happened, it probably would have landed, and everything in that basement in that section would have been gone. So he said, I am taking this. I am going to actually save this. I'm going to, or what did he say? I'm going to salvage. I'm going to salvage this.
He says
I'm going to salvage this.
He said, I left this here the last time I was in here is what he says.
And I'm going to salvage this. Yeah. And when he says that, if you watch on his video, you'll hear Flesh say what he said. And then on my video, you hear the one way when you play it, it said, what was it? It said, that's not yours.
That's not yours.
And then when you play it backwards, it says something about, what was it? It said something. Put that back. Something. Put that back or something.
It was weird. It was weird. Yeah.
They both had to do with him taking that.
Yeah.
And it was almost like the spirits were saying, you're not taking that out of here.
Yeah.
You know, it actually, if you watch my video again, you'll see where I actually put the words up there, what it could say. And when I play it backwards, you could hear it. It's crazy because when you play it forward, it sounds like two voices. One, I can't remember what it said. And I just watched it the other day. Oh man, it's going to drive me nuts thinking about it.
Hey, Connie. Yeah. That Mike, if you got that micro cassette recorder, you should, but there you go. Do you want to know what's in your house? I mean, you know, sometimes you might not want to know. That's my feeling on it, you know, but yeah, I'd have to try it one time. I've never used one for an investigation. That'd be pretty neat.
That's where I've caught honestly, I've caught more on the analog Radio Shack micro cassette recorder than I've ever caught on my Olympus. I have caught stuff on my Olympus, but I catch more on that analog recorder. And back in the day, that's what they used because they realized that they were able to manipulate the magnetic field on the recording head and actually put in their own voice.
Well, is it true also with that magnetic and with the micro cassette recorders, they didn't pick up so much as a lot of the pop and hiss that you hear,
right,
with the digital?
Right. Yeah, there you go, Robert. That's what I'm talking about. I had the little black micro cassette recorder. It was a little bigger than this, about that thick. That's what I use, and that one. You'll get a lot more with that. Don't do it in your house unless you want to know what's being said. Because
everybody say hi to my lovely wife's in here now too. Everyone say hi to my lovely wife.
Hello, his lovely wife. Well, then if you're the fire Sarge, she's got to be the fire's captain.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
See, what's funny is you say that because her father retired from Louisville Fire Department as a captain.
Oh, there we go.
She swore me down she'd never marry a fireman. So every third day or so, I ask her how that's working out for her. I just get the look. The look.
Yeah.
That look like go be you somewhere else. That look. You think you're funny, but I'm going to tell you what you're not. You're not funny.
Oh, have you read some of the funny things that happen in my house? I put them on Facebook.
You crack me up. Yeah, you crack me up with some of the stuff you put on Facebook, brother.
That day I told her, she said, the clock's wrong on the stove. I says, well, the dishwasher didn't change the time. And she goes, why would the dishwasher do it? And I says, well, evidently the sandwich maker didn't tell the dishwasher to do it. And then she caught on what I meant. And she's like, I'm gonna kick your ass. But we joke about stuff like that. She takes it the right way. She knows I treat her like a woman needs to be treated. I'm not chauvinist, but I like to throw those little chauvinist comments,
sure,
and she gets a kick out of it.
Right. Yeah,
oh
right.
Yeah. Oh, she gives it back to me.
Oh
Yesterday I got her good though. I got her good.
But
she was cleaning the kitchen, and she likes her little all natural foofy soap. And I don't like it because I don't like the way it smells. It doesn't lather well. So I don't if I go to the bathroom, I go to the kitchen and I use Dawn,
you want to smell pretty. You want to smell pretty. Just
I use the Dawn because that stuff, it gets everything. It kills bacteria. It does everything. Well, she doesn't like the big green or green bottle of Dawn on the back of the sink. So she wants to put it down below. And I'm like, well, why do I have to go under the sink to wash my hands? And now I'm dirtying another thing because now I've got to open a cabinet up. I says, why can't mine be up there? She's like, it's my kitchen. It's my house. And I'm like, okay. So then we were in the living room and I said something and she goes, well, why'd you do it? I said, because it's my house. It's my recliner. And she's like, hey. And I was like, so you're going to put my soap back up? She's like, yeah. She realized I used her own words on her. Boy, that soap's back on that kitchen cabinet now.
You're going to get stabbed in your sleep one night, brother. If suddenly you stop showing up and you're no longer doing live streams, I'm going to make sure to send the police to your house.
Oh, that was the other thing I said. The night that she had said that about the clock and that, she told me to get off my phone. She's trying to watch 911. And I says, what the hell? And she's like, what? And I'm like, when the hell did we get a talking washing machine? She was folding towels.
Oh, no.
So then she's like, so we've got this thing where she'll be like, keep it up, Donahue. You're going to get it. So I put on the bottom of that, if I ever become missing, tell the police to look at the wife and the backyard.
The backyard. Yeah, bring shovels. Right.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, so I've got a couple of other EVPs we're going to play, and they are from a history proven.
Aunt Wendy's in here too.
Yeah. That's my nephew.
Oh, that's my
wife.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, there we go. I just realized that.
But I'm going to play some EVPs from a building that was a brothel owned by Al Capone in New Albany, Indiana.
Oh, wow.
The mafia was known to come to southern Indiana when they wanted to party because cops were cheap down here. So, small town country cops cost less than Chicago PD does. So, and Louisville, Kentucky being right across the river from there, that's, they came down here to make their deals about the bourbon during the Prohibition. So here we go.
How are we doing on tape, Candy?
It's right there at the end of it.
How are we doing on tape, Candy? How are we doing on tape, Candy?
Take me to the hospital, Alonzo.
How are we doing on tape, Candy? How are we doing on tape, Candy?
Yeah.
So, you hear someone asking how we're doing on tape with the high 8. It's a micro cassette, for video.
Right.
She was wanting to, she was wanting to know how much time was left on the high 8 for the video recording. So, and then they picked up Take Me to the Hospital, Alonzo. We're not sure if it had been a brothel. It could have been one of the girls needing to go to a hospital. Alonzo could have been number of guys that worked at the place, guards or whatever. But we do know that it was used as a speakeasy owned by Al Capone's. His signature is actually on the deed we found at the library. So he actually owned the building.
That's cool.
And for the people that are local here, if you're listening, and you're local, it's the place that's right before the old T-shirt factory on Mansion Row in downtown New Albany. So is the house. Another one from the same building. And this one's actually ethnic.
Now push it up towards the light in the ceiling.
I've only got 5 minutes to take left.
Okay. We definitely need to come back in here when we've got more tape because there's a lot. We definitely need to come back in here when we've got more tape because there's a definitely need to. We definitely need to come back in
Take left.
ceiling.
Hear the knocks. I've only got 5 minutes to
Ceiling.
hear the knocks.
It's saying sister.
Okay. We definitely need to come back in here when we've got more tape because there's a lot going on in this area.
Yeah.
In this hotel.
All right. So what you're hearing is sister, but it's being said sister.
Yeah.
The voice starts to say something before it says that.
Yeah,
You
there's
can hear
something said before, but she's
Yes.
talking over and I couldn't make it out. But I can make out Sista.
Hey,
Which-
Midwest Flesh in the chat.
Oh, there we go.
Hey, Midwest, come on up here, man. Come up to the panel. I got you. I sent you the link to the studio, brother, in your Facebook Messenger. But yeah, it says something. I could never when I went through that evidence, I could never figure out what it's being said there. It gets cut off or something like it didn't have. And of course, you hear the EVP you hear the EMF detector going crazy.
Right.
The wiring in that old building was not the code. It had the old fabric.
Fabric Romex.
Yes.
Asbestos fabric Romex.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Around the old copper wiring, and it wasn't the code. And so, of course, this place is bleeding electricity.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Okay. Cool,
Place
man. He says he can't right now, but okay. I see you,
Places
brother.
like that are hard to get an EVP reading or an EMF reading when it's like that.
Yeah. You couldn't.
Well,
And-
we had that problem when we did that Aberdeen Inn in Valpo on Halloween. That was a hard building because you got to figure that building was built in 1920 1919. Sorry, 1919. I believe was when that building was built, and they've updated it, but there's still so much of the old wiring in there. And if they don't take the old wiring out, it can still hold magnetic fields in it. And people don't realize that old copper and the old aluminum wiring, some of the aluminum wiring, it will become magnetized. And oh man, we went to the basement and I turned the EMF detector on and it went ape shit. I was like, wow. So we had to turn it off. And then when we were upstairs, there was one spot where I was standing and I had like over 300 milligauss That's crazy high.
That's pegging it. Oh, that's pegging in red.
Yeah, it
That's up there.
it was so high that I literally felt lightheaded standing in this spot, and it was only one spot.
And it's after you guys cut the power at the box.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
but
Wow.
it was actually at the same spot where the original, like, you know, breaker box, not fuse box, breaker box
Yeah,
was.
okay.
It was right above that, because when we were in the basement, I told him, I says, you know what? I says, stay right here. I'm going to go downstairs. And I says, you tap on the floor. And he kept tapping on the floor, and I tracked through the basement to find it. And right where he was tapping was right below was the actual old style breaker
Okay.
box, which it was off. But like I said, you end up with all that power that's been run through there, and it creates magnetic fields, even though the power's off and it's been reran to another spot in the basement.
Well, yeah, you can either create nor destroy energy, so it's going to
Right.
hold it.
Right. So the problem was there was just so much magnetic fields from that breaker box, and that's why that one spot was so strong.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, Midwest. Man, I appreciate that, brother. Thank you so much for that.
You know what? I got in here so fast, I forgot to do the same dang thing.
Yeah, with me only having like 23 subscribers, YouTube doesn't allow me to post yet like you guys do to your communities. So I need 1K for that. So, but I'm working on it. We'll get there.
Here we go. Let me share this out real quick. It says, come hang out with Fire Sarge. We discuss the paranormal. Please like, share, and comment.
I appreciate that, man. Thank
see
you.
if we can get you a few more of my friends and family to join up and jump
Yeah,
in on
definitely.
it
For
too.
my friends and family that are listening, and if you don't know, please follow Joker's Nation, Midwest or Steel City Storm, and Midwest Flesh. Especially for my mom and dad that are watching, and they grew up in the Gary and Hobart area.
Oh, yeah.
They go and do urban exploring of all the old places there in northern Indiana.
Yep.
So
Mostly centralized Gary, Etna, Miller.
yeah. So Dad, if you're
Those
watching and you
areas.
want to see what Lew Wallace looks like now that it's been abandoned since 2013, it's going to make you sad though. I promise. It's going to make you sad. Vandals have destroyed the school, and the city has just left it the way it is, and it's slated to be torn down.
Yep.
They haven't given a date, but they actually walk through the halls and the old gym that they used to play basketball in, Dad. They've got it all filmed. It's all documented. So if you ever get bored and you want to check them out, you probably should. You should take a look.
Yeah.
So
Especially Storm having over 600 videos of
yeah,
all the different places in Gary, and Flesh quite a few. I think I'm almost at 100 videos myself. So I think Flesh is 300. I think he was 300.
so yeah, it's definitely worth a look. They've got me hooked. That's how I ran into them, and come to find out that I knew these guys already. I've already known these guys from way back when. Midwest Flesh, who's down there in the comments. Him and I went to high school together.
331. Hell yeah.
And I've known Joker. I've met Joker in a bar, up in northern Indiana a couple times, actually.
Saved his butt from jail.
Got me from going to jail one night. Absolutely.
Yep.
Look, it wasn't my fault, man. It just doesn't matter. I go out and the smallest, scrawniest guy's got to try me. I don't know what that is, but you know it is. You as a bouncer, you've seen it.
Yep. Oh yeah.
You've seen it. But yeah, I'm glad to see this many people in here tonight. This is awesome. So anyway, that EVP says Sista, and what you hear is what you guys, that beeping noise that you guys hear is it's an electronic magnetic field detector. It detects, and we use this to try when people say that they've got that foreboding feeling every time they walk in their basement, or their family room feels creepy. we take these meters in there, and if you get a large spike in EMF, electric magnetic field, and all the power's on, there's a good chance that they've got some unshielded wiring in the house.
Right.
An excessive amount of EMF will make a human being feel sick to their stomach, make them feel dizzy,
Nauseous, dizzy, euphoric.
Yeah,
You'll get the goosebumps, all over.
We use it as a way to help us debunk. But if we've got a place that's completely powered down, we've shut everything off at the box, and you're still hearing stuff like and when they're doing this, they're checking out an old chandelier that was original to the building, to the house that we're in at this point. And it's an old Victorian style, back in the day type of mansion. Is this? But it's been since split up into apartments. They're checking out. They're pointing the EMF detector, the sensor up at the light, and that's why you hear it beeping like that. So, but at the same time, they get that, and I would class that as a residual.
Right.
Same thing with Take Me to the Hospital. It's on playback.
Yeah.
It's
some of them could be intelligent, that they're still not aware that
they're gone,
passed on. There's some that are residual, where they just keep playing that moment over and over in time, and it can be the places where you get a lot of that are places that are built on a limestone, sandstone, pretty much any kind of other than brick, other than standard brick. But I mean, even concrete and wood actually can hold some of that energy as well. But the places where you get the best is places where they're on limestone, underground springs. That's another big spot, especially a place with an artesian well. Those seem to be a breeding ground for paranormal, because that water will actually power it.
Sure.
It gives them the power
water.
they need.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why Stanley Motel, the Stanley Motel, a lot of people don't realize you've got an underground spring, natural spring underneath that hotel, and then that mountain is limestone. So you've got those things tied together. Well, you got the quartz and limestone, I should say. So you've got the building itself is built out of limestone and has limestone and quartz underneath it, plus the natural spring underneath it.
Yeah.
It's like a power pump, it's like a wireless charger for a cell phone. It's just sitting there putting power out to everything.
And this house actually sits, if I had to guess, I don't, 600, 700 yards from the Ohio River.
Yeah.
So actually, from its backyard, you would have, from what would have been its original carriage house, you would have seen.
There's
you would have been able to see
tracker.
Them.
There's Brandon.
Hey, Psycho. What's happening, Brandon?
We were just talking about your cousin's house and doing a little talking about that EMF spike over at Aberdeen.
Hey, Connie, that's horrible. Yeah, I mean, when you've got that kind of haunting going on, that it makes you that sick. You know what? It's time to call the U-Haul place and see what it's going to cost you to get a truck.
Yeah. Yeah, there's places where you're going to run into that. There's places that, well, for instance, the Nike base. The Nike base by us, the one that's storming them.
Down in downtown Gary. Yeah.
We went down there, and there's no power there, and there hasn't been power there since 75. I think 75 it was cut. The wiring was stripped out, and there's spots in there where there's EMF meters going nuts, and there's nothing there. There's no wire even. The wire they took out. And that's when you're in a spot that there's something going on.
So is that Nike base, is it all flooded? I know in the video you guys are talking about how the silos and all the control rooms and everything, all the bunkers are flooded out.
Yeah, what they did, the Army Corps of Engineers came to town after they closed it down. It was closed down, I think, 10 years. It was because they closed it, I think it was 71. In 81, they completely shut it down. And then it wasn't, I think it was 80, I'm trying to think, it was 84 or 85. The Army Corps of Engineers came to town, got with the fire department, and they went and pumped the the elevators full of water.
Wow.
They just filled it. And at that time, they actually removed the entrances to the bunkers and that from the south location, because there's two locations there, and they're like offset. If one is here, well, if one's here, the other's like up here off a little bit. But there was an underground tunnel that led to it. And as kids, we played in them. So I knew all the different ins and outs. I know, let's scuba. I've thought about it, but man, that water's nasty.
Oh, dude. That would have to be nasty down there.
Yeah. Plus, the downside is if you get caught in one of those where they remove the exit and
You get tangled
run out
up
of
down
air,
there, you're screwed.
you're done. You're
Yeah.
done. Unless
then
you've
as
got,
thick as that bunker's concrete, you ain't calling for help.
no, you
ain't
ain't
getting
doing
a
that.
signal. No, you're done. You get trapped.
We would spend hours down there and we found 3 different areas that we can come out after going into the main one on 700, which is the main one that they did with the 3 elevator doors. When we went down in that one, there's the 3 elevator doors. So there's a hallway that leads to each one, and each one opens up and it's the size of a football field underneath it. And off of that's little bunker rooms. And then there's a big hallway that leads down. And then there's several rooms off from it. And then it takes you to the one that I did. I did the 3 different videos of the south one that's now used a paintball field. And,
Oh, wow.
And below that, there was actually 3 exits on that side. And the owner swears up and down, oh, no, I've got the plot and everything, and there isn't none. And I'm like, dude, I'm telling you now, I don't care what you tell me. I know as a kid, I popped up out of it. And when I paintballed here originally, there was an exit. And that you guys covered it up. And he's like, no, we never did. Yeah, there was. I know for a fact because I come out there and got separated from the rest of my buddies. And they were across the cornfield from me screaming my name. And I'm like, how the hell did you get there? And they're like, there's another exit. And then we went there and we come down and we found a 3rd exit. So... But yeah, the Army Corps of Engineers, for some reason, they come in and filled them full of water. I don't know whether it's because of the kids playing in it and it was starting to get.
I would imagine. Yeah.
The concrete was starting to get cracked in a couple spots. The big blast doors that separated the 2, one of them was completely rusted where you couldn't open it. The other one, you can open it, but you're talking this door was probably every bit of that thick. And it was a blast door, the yellow and black stripes, like what's on top of the silos, that yellow and black paint.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like on these big blast doors. And this hallway, that when I'm talking about walking down a hallway, it's not a typical hallway. You can literally drive 2 Jeeps side by side through these hallways. That's how big they were.
Wow.
So those blast doors were huge. Probably each blast door was 12 foot across.
It'd be nuclear proof.
That was the thing too. A lot of people didn't realize that was actually a nuke plant. Yep. It wasn't just an air defense. It actually had the nuke heads there as well.
A long range ballistic, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but also there to protect steel mills from nuclear attack. So got a request from my nephew. My dad wants me to comment. Oh, the gate on the cemetery where I told you that the group that I had, we always went. It was kind of weird, man. And I haven't quite been able to explain this one. Don't understand it. Outside of the gate to the cemetery, and it had a big swing gate on it. Mm-hmm. You could hear, insects, beetles that, at night, all the noise that, if you're doing an outside investigation.
All the critter sounds.
But as soon as you walked through the gate and shut the gate behind you, all those sounds went away while you were in the cemetery.
I've heard of that at several locations.
It's some sort of weird. I don't understand it.
There's a phenomenon. There's a name that they use for it, and I can't think of it. But there's a cemetery right by where Dewey's house was, and Flesh knows where that is. There's a cemetery by Dewey's, and they just got a little gate, like it's like a wrought iron, like maybe stomach high fence. And when you open that gate and go through it at night, same thing happens. It's like you'll hear
weird.
Chirp, 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 chirp. And then as soon as that gate goes clank, chirp, chirp. and it's dead silent.
It-
And
but if
it'll
you
be
step
that
out-
way for about a half hour, and then all of a sudden they'll start to come back.
Well, no, it never comes back until you step on the
Oh,
other side of
really?
the gate. It's still
Oh,
going.
really?
We've had recorders on the outside running at a setup camp table,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like a command post type thing. While people are inside doing the investigation, the recorders in the cemetery don't hear the bugs that the recorders that are running outside of the place are picking up on.
Oh, wow.
So it's when just as long as you're in the cemetery, you don't hear those
Wow,
noises.
that's
It's just-
crazy.
it is. It kind of
Now,
adds.
see,
to
I
the
never
weirdness of-
recorded outside after, so I don't know. That's weird though. Yeah,
We've
ours
we always keep
here
on
about a
recording.
half hour after you've been walking around, then you'll start to hear them. You know, you'll hear the frogs first, the burp,
Right?
burp.
Yeah, sure.
You'll hear
Yeah.
that start, and then after you hear the frogs burp, burp, then you'll start hearing the crickets start to chirp up again, and then you'll hear the birds in the tree, you know, chirping every now and then. But as soon as you walk through that gate, it's like instant silence, and it was like,
it's weird like that. I don't, and it, of course, it adds to the spookiness of it too. I mean, you just literally walked 30 feet through a gate, and
I
and
can't
all of
think
a
of the
sudden,
name
as
of
soon as you
it.
close that gate, you don't hear what you were just hearing just a few feet before. And we've always kept my group always kept a recorder running at the command post, whether it was outside, inside,
Right.
the back of someone's van, whatever be the case. We kept on recording because you never know if what you think you're hearing is an EVP while you're doing could be the boneheads back at, and the boneheads meaning mostly me and the guy Nick. If we
Right.
sat at command post together,
Yeah.
we couldn't be
Could
quiet,
be-
dude.
could
We were
be.
we were goofing off. I'll be honest. We acted up. We did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were throwing stuff at each other. You know, we're goofing off. We got bored. So
Could be home base contamination. I got you.
right, exactly. So we always
I
kept the
gotcha.
recorder running during that. So
That makes sense. That makes sense.
we've even picked up EVPs off of those recorders, which is always kind of weird. You know, look, I know your people are inside investigating this house. I didn't want to disturb them, so I'd come out here and talk to you. You know, so
Sounds like Oak Island.
with the
That's
flooding,
funny.
flooding it,
Yeah. There
I don't
is-
think I
can't.
don't think
I
I'd
gotta.
agree with that. That would be
I got-
creepy. I don't
I
think I
gotta
could agree
find
with it.
what that's called. It's some kind of phenomenon. They call it something phenomenon, and I've got to find that now. Damn it!
It's good. You have to Google it. Ain't
Yeah,
you?
I'll have to be looking up for it. I don't know if I can find it on Google.
Yeah, Todd.
I've-
It's the creepiest. It's the weirdest.
Yeah,
You know, and like I said, I mean this cemetery where we would go to train at, train new investigators how to use the equipment properly and keep and practice for ourselves before we go embarrass ourselves at somebody's house, or business for that matter. It's literally right uphill from this creek, so you got the sound of running water, you've got the wind in the trees, you've got the bugs that are at night, the frogs like Jokerman.
no.
As soon as you walk in that cemetery, you hear none of that. It is deathly quiet. You hear nothing except
Did
for
you say dead quiet?
dead quiet. Yeah, absolutely. Except for in that place that aren't quiet. They want to talk.
Yeah,
You know.
that's crazy.
Since Midwest and Psycho just got here, I got to play that Class A for those guys. That EVP.
Oh yeah.
While they're here. You guys got in here late, so I'm going to play an EVP for you that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, you'll love this one.
The power went out and somehow started again.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this, and I'll let you. And I don't want to tell you what it's saying, but I'll tell you that it's singing.
The power went out and somehow started again.
Mm-hmm.
The power went out and somehow started again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he says we got to get the power back on so the sump pump will run.
Yeah.
And then you hear the singing, and then you hear her go, mm-hmm. That was weird. I could hear it that time when he said.
Somehow started again.
Mm-hmm.
So for Psycho
Got
Ghost Trackers of Midwest Flesh,
The power went out and somehow started again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, get the power on so the sump pump will kick back on.
yeah, like I said, the basement was flooding. I mean, it was storming that night that we did that. It was crazy. So say it. So Brandon and Midwest, you guys hear that? Hear what it's saying?
It sounded like Linda Lovelace.
you're getting I got a little delay here on the comments. So.
Yeah. I got the YouTube comments playing, so
Oh,
I can
okay.
see 'em.
I'm in stream.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
in
so
stream.
I use the YouTube pop-out chat, so like I see the
Oh,
comments.
that's right. Yeah, I forgot all about that.
Brandon,
Funny.
Brandon, what do you think it said? Is he still in here?
I don't know if
He may have left. He's got
may
the
have left.
attention span of a Cocker Spaniel.
Hey, Midwest, what it's saying is splish splash. I was taking a bath.
Yeah, listen to it again. You could hear her. She's like, splish splash, I was taking a bath.
The power ran out, so the sun panel started again.
Mm-hmm.
The power ran out, so the sun panel started again.
Mm-hmm.
That is crazy.
So Midwest, what it comes down to, they're in the basement of a flooded. They're in a flooded basement of a downtown Louisville gentleman's club that we were called in to do an investigation of, paranormal investigation of. So they're walking through water in the basement of this place, and this ghost, splish splash, I was taking a bath.
Evidently, they had a stripper with a sense of humor down there.
She's got a sense of humor. So, yeah, that is an excellent EVP.
And there was a stripper that was shot there, so there is.
There was a lady that was shot and killed in the place. So,
Sorry, a dancer. Don't want to
entertainer, even
a female entertaining dancer.
There you go. There you go.
Sorry, I have to work on my softer side here.
You look pretty cuddly to me. I'm just saying.
I could get pretty rude. The pole pony got offed on stage.
Wow, dude. There you go. Well, I mean, and the whole night we're walking around. So the guy that you hear talking about the power, his wife was not entertained, dude. The whole time we're in there, she's like, "You guys smell fish?"
Oh, geez.
She kept making comments like that, and we're like, "You got to shut up." You know, we got to be professional about this. You can't be doing that. What is wrong with you? You know. So it was, yeah.
That's
like,
messed
come
up.
on.
That was so clear on that one, though. I heard that one crystal clear.
It is.
So now we've got another that could be that one in the cemeteries because you called him Mark and then you called him Kevin, and the ghost said, "What?"
Yeah, don't mark it. Right.
Yeah.
Don't mark him.
Don't mark him.
Right.
Yeah, don't mark him. It was almost like it knew his name was Kevin. It's like, don't mark him.
Right.
And then you said Kevin, and it goes, "What?"
Hey, Midwest, were you in here when I was playing the ones from the brothel that was owned by the speakeasy that was owned by Capone?
No, I don't think he was in here for that one.
You didn't hear those? All right. I'll play these for him because I know he's got a thing for Capone. So.
Oh, that's what he's saying. How about that nice hotel in Louisville with the Al Capone ties, Sarge?
Yeah. This one, the ones I've got is from actually a house in downtown New Albany, which was owned by Capone. The hotel you're talking about, I believe, is the Galt House.
Yeah.
It had mafia ties largely. So did West Baden Springs, which isn't too far from here. It's actually a hot springs place, and it was built by the mob as there is a summer retreat.
That's the one that has an underground tunnel between the two buildings, isn't it?
Yes, West Baden.
Yeah,
yes. Sure
That's
does.
cool. That is cool.
Yep. Yeah,
I wish they'd let people in them still, but
they don't let anyone down there.
Well, what I was told when I had asked about if we can get in there, I was told that the construction was subpar. It was prohibition style tunnels, and they said that the beams are starting to fall, and they really don't want anyone down there and chance a beam falling and collapsing the whole property in between too.
Yeah.
So
they've got to shut down. Yeah, they won't. They don't even talk about it.
No.
If you ask a staff member, the staff member claims that they don't exist, but they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're there.
Well, what I was told is they've got one end's been bricked off already in the one building. The other building, they were going to brick it off, but they were having some crumbling issues, so they just gated it off and then covered it with a false wall.
Welcome back, Connie.
That one's supposedly accessible.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, you walk into West Bay, and if you've never been in there, it had the world's record at one time for the largest freestanding dome
Yeah.
structure. So the first my wife took me there for the first time, and I just kind of I just stood there. It was just amazing how massive this hotel is. It is just unreal. They've got the old, the smaller stairways that are on the backside for the room service to bring your,
Yep.
from back in the day. And
That's how the Wolf Mansion is here. That one that I did
Yeah.
up next to the master bedrooms, the maid quarters, and in the maid quarters, there's a little door. I mean, it's literally I have to turn sideways to go through it, and you open it, and it's just a very narrow staircase that goes down, and you open it up when you get to the bottom, and you're in the pantry, in the kitchen, and
Oh,
then
wow.
you go through that door, and there's the kitchen. And they still have it there. The owner, when I was talking to him, he says, "Yeah, we still have it." A lot of people don't realize those are in houses.
Yeah.
They get
Yeah.
plastered over in a lot of them, but they're there still.
With it down there by this one house I was, I played the recordings from that we did.
Mhm.
That was the Speakeasy. That whole row of mansions are that predate the Civil War. They were built before that, and every one of those mansions, one of them's oh hell, my mind just went blank. Downtown. It's hang on a second. Hey babe,
He done went derp.
what's the name of the mansion downtown New Albany they have the tours of? She can't hear me. She might be asleep. Anyway, there's this old mansion downtown. It's actually haunted. The guy had the place built. He had several different wives. That did. What was the name of the hotel down there, or not the hotel, but the mansion downtown New Albany, where they do the Halloween tours? Culbertson Mansion. Thank you. Yeah, if you guys want to dive down a rabbit hole and look at some history, look up Culbertson Mansion in New Albany, Indiana. It's haunted bigger than hell. The police make responses to it. It's actually ran by the Parks Department now, by the Indiana Parks Department. It's on the National Registry of Historic Places, and Mr. Culbertson was kind of a mean guy. He was kind of heavy-handed with the kids and the wives. After he owned it, there was a dentist and his family that were actually using the carriage house behind the building. They were living in the upstairs part of it, and he was using the downstairs of the old carriage house as his office. Well, they found, this is true to life news. I'm not making this up. You can look it up. They found the family not only murdered, but they had skinned them and hung their skins from the clothing lines in the backyard. The husband, wife, and the 2 or 3 kids. The place is off the chain haunted. I mean, it's haunted. There's this floor, the harp, an old harp with strings harp. You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
These things weigh, I don't know how much they weigh, but they weigh a lot.
They're heavy.
Well, they've got motion sensors and the state-of-the-art fire alarms in the place, and smoke detectors, all that stuff. The place is just outfitted with all this. Well, they've got the motion sensors in the place, also the lasers that go across the floor. The police department gets calls all the time to these alarms going off. There's no one. A curator used to live in the house. They no longer do. The place sits empty at night, and the police department will get an alarm to go there. They've got a key to the joint. They get in the house, and there's furniture that's been moved around in the house. There's nobody in there. Like the harp will be moved, and I mean, it's just yeah, the place is just unreal active. The bad part of it is this: if you make the trip 4 hours south of where you're at, Joker,
right,
and you have to make arrangements to go on a real ghost tour. Because what they do now is they have it billed as a actual really haunted house. Right. And it's a haunted mansion. but they fake it. They have somebody in there running around in front of there's someone blowing cigar smoke, and they've got this handkerchief that's on a wire that you could see going up the banister of the stairs, the spiral staircase, and
oh man,
they don't. So you have to kind of not pay for that tour and ask them if you could do a real investigation, but they'll probably tell you no.
Jeez.
Yeah, Connie, this one doesn't have wheels on it anymore. It's made to sit in place. So, you could walk into these rooms, but any other like historical place you've ever been, they've got everything roped off. So you can't actually go up to the furniture because it's actually from the house. I mean, it's from the original owners. They owned this stuff. I mean, so you can't go. You can walk into a certain point. You can see the area. The guy gets to tell you about it. And then there's some other teenager running around ahead of you.
That's stupid, man. I hate the people do that. I hate the people do that because that just, anyone that does paranormal, it's bad on its own because you get looked at like a kook as it is because there's so many non-believers out there. And then you got people like that, or even that Omar guy where, he'll have a buddy wearing a black bodysuit that, moves in the shadows to make people go, whoa, did you see that go? Stupid stuff like that. It's
shit like that. Yeah. Yeah.
It just, all that it does, it discredits all the people that do like I do, where I try to disprove everything and debunk it. It just, that drives me nuts.
The one recording I couldn't find, I've lost it. I tried. I looked high and low for this recording. It's an EVP from Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, that's cool.
Bunch of us went down there. We did the 4-hour tour where the guy takes you to the floor. He stays at one end. He pretty much lets you guys go do what you want to do. Right? He just stays at his end of the hallway. You guys just run through that level. We found the morgue inside the sanatorium, and I had a digital recorder running, and I say, well, here's the morgue, and here's the tray, and I pull the tray out. I said, just think about how many dead bodies this has seen, and you get a recording that says, please, it's a female voice that says, please don't say that. And it's a Class A EVP,
wow.
And I can't find it. I don't know what I've done with it. I can't find the SD card that I saved it on. It's man, it upsets me that I can't find it. But that was another good one. So if you guys want to go on a trip to check out someplace that I guarantee you,
only problem is, man, I looked at getting a reservation. Actually, in October, you had to schedule, and that was already for August.
Yes.
And from what I understand, they're not doing nothing right now. So
no, everything's shut down because of
everything's shut down. So it's going to be a year before you could even make a reservation to get in there.
That's it. So
I want to go there so bad, but they only do it now where you got to have 10 people minimum.
Yep.
And it's $1,000 for 10 people to go in there for 8 hours.
And you get to spend the night.
Yeah.
It's what about they actually have an area that you bring in sleeping bags and you get to spend the night in the building.
Well, technically yes, but technically no, because it said that checkout was at like 4 a.m.
Oh, okay.
So it's 8 hours, but it's 4 a.m. is the cap off where they close the place down. So it's not like you get to stay all night. They changed that. I don't know why, but it's
Midwest. You guys, anytime you guys
I still want to do it.
I'll take you guys in there. Most definitely.
We'll
get a group and we'll go. Connie, it's Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky.
We don't pay. We sneak in.
Oh, hell, you ain't sneaking in that place.
No, they got that place.
I promise you ain't sneaking into that place.
Oh, thank you.
That place, they've got security there 24/7, 365 with cameras that will rival what a casino has. Trust me, you're not sneaking in. I wish, brother, I wish we could sneak in. Back before Winnie snuck in, my wife has snuck into that place. I was just about to comment on that. just before the place got bought by the current owners. It sat empty for years. They had one old security guard, from what I hear, is before I moved down to this area, that ran around and he watched the place. You could actually get to the bottom of the tunnel and walk up through the tunnel to get around, to get past the gate, the fences, and actually get into the old sanatorium that way.
Yeah, I wanna sit and do an EVP by
Like
myself.
ninjas. Midwest says like ninjas.
I wanna do an EVP in that morgue tunnel, or the crematorium tunnel, I should say.
Well, actually,
I want to go down there and sit in that tunnel by myself and just do an EVP. I'd love it.
Hey, Midwest, that's my wife. Wendy that's the wife, brother. She's giving me some support, listening to the feed. I got my mom and dad are watching, but not typing. My nephew's in here, my brother's in here. So
Todd was asking if you've done anything in that big cemetery there in Louisville. Sorry, I forgot the name.
Oh yeah. Hell, what's the name? What's the name of it's huge. It's ginormous.
We had talked about that before.
No, I've never gone in there and done that. Louisville PD, Metro PD does not have a sense of humor about catching you in that cemetery at night.
Yeah.
They do not. You will go to jail.
Well, the problem was they had all those kids
out of there. Yeah.
Well, they had all those kids defacing the tombstones and the gravestones and that. And I know that was a big thing. Someone was telling me about that lives down there. They said that they got a zero tolerance for that cemetery because of the vandalism they had.
Hey, Frank, it's good to see you in here. Frank Folder's in the room.
Hey, I didn't even see Frank sneak in.
Hey, Frank, how you doing, man? Yeah, no, they don't. Yeah, you're not getting into that one. You will get caught and you will go to jail because there's been too many kids that have trashed stuff, right? I mean, they've gotten in there and they tear stuff up. You've got sides of that old cemetery that are just for Jewish, right? And they'll go in there and man, kids with spray paint will paint anti-Semitic messages on tombstones. I mean, come on, really?
No.
So yeah,
that's the other thing with Waverly. They just put $1 million into restoring that one wing.
Yes, I wish I could have been in there to do the recordings in that one. It's on the first level. It was
they went through
a hospital wing.
8 different construction crews because they kept quitting because of the stuff. Yeah, tools missing and equipment fully charged battery. All of a sudden the battery's dead. They just put a brand new battery in, hit that circular saw, and what?
My nephew says Taylor, you come by that naturally. Boy, you really do. Your whole family's interested in that stuff. So now that one wing, it had been closed off. They don't allow tours in it. Nothing. They don't allow anybody in it because of how bad of disrepair it was in. It was a safety problem. It had asbestos. It had lead paint. It had a lot of the old. We're talking old stuff here. Yeah. So they had it shut for all these years, and literally not only shut but walled off. You couldn't go down that wing.
Zach Bagans offered them $200,000. They turned them down.
They turned him down.
Yeah, they told him no. They weren't letting anyone in there.
So what they've that whole one wing is now completely redone, and the rooms have actually been done to a point where you can actually stay in those rooms. It's like a hotel down that one wing now, is what they've done.
Yeah.
So they have invested so much money into this place by selling tickets for people to come down and just have that experience of the place. And brother, I'm telling you, it's creepy. I'm not going to lie. I was creeped out being in the shadow figures. You see them walk across the hall from room to room, and I've always had the opinion of that. Like I was talking about the last time we talked about this, about the, dimensional thing, that in another dimension,
somebody did
corresponding with this one, the nurses and the patients are all there and they see us as ghosts. That's why a lot of the EVPs you get is, who are you? You don't belong here. Get out of here. It's that sort of thing there. So
they did now, Midwest. I just went and looked. Somebody clicked on it right after you said that. You got 11 people in, 11 thumbs up.
That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah,
Flesh saw you had 11 in here and 10 thumbs up. He says, somebody didn't give a thumbs up. And I went to look, and sure enough, there's 11.
Midwest keeping them honest. Thank you, brother.
I know I was the first one.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, Bobby Mackey's. I want to go there. We
Never
have got.
been.
Oh,
Never
I want
been
to
there.
go there so bad. That place is legit.
It's supposed to be off the chain. From
Yeah.
what I've seen, what I've heard, it's supposed to be off the hook.
Even like Jack Osborne, he went out there and they had stuff that they couldn't explain either. And he's one that he likes to try to dismiss stuff, or he's not like the Zach Bagans. Oh, it's a demon! It's a demon! It's a demon! He likes to go in and legitimately investigate the place. And he was out there, and he ended up leaving. He said it was creepy there. He's like,
if you guys come down, you guys got come down for a weekend.
yeah,
Because if you guys like old cemeteries, I had someone comment about the one over in Louisville.
yeah.
I can take you to Court, Indiana, where the only Civil War battle in Indiana was fought. It's where the first state capital of Indiana was, and the cemetery there's got Confederate and Union dead in the cemetery.
Now, isn't that the one where they say you could hear almost cannon? You could hear like cannons going off at night just out of nowhere.
You will hear the musket fire every now and then.
Yeah.
You can hear what sounds like a cannon.
Yeah.
You especially hear it through the EVP type thing here out of Cordon. It's pretty cool. So, yeah,
I'd love to get out.
Isn't that far from me? Bobby Mackey's is not that far.
Yeah, this summer, if it's
about an hour's drive from me, I think.
If we're still not locked down this summer,
Right,
I plan on doing some traveling and hitting some spots.
Yeah. Now Waverly, so where I live in southern Indiana, we're on top of what's called Floyd's Knobs. We look down onto Louisville, Kentucky from where we're at. Waverly Hills is directly, I kid you not, directly across the river from my house. You could see it from, if you come up here along the ridge, you could see Waverly, the top of the building from here. So
Make sure we have enough money to go to Nob Hill too.
yeah, get you some whiskey.
God, love that. Whiskey. I'm talking about the shooting the weapons, man.
Oh, Knob Creek.
Ooh.
Not Knob
Yeah,
Hill,
Knob Creek. Knob Creek.
Yeah,
Sorry,
machine
Knob
gun
Creek.
too. Yeah, buddy. That's
Oh yeah.
down here too. Yeah, it's right here on the river.
Yep.
Shoot a 50 cal. That'll cost you some money.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Flesh, I didn't know that about there in Chicago, the thousands of Confederate prisoners there. That's pretty neat.
Wow.
My wife works at a set of buildings in Jeffersonville that's the Census Bureau that were actually the World War II. They were used as the quartermaster buildings. So as troops would board trains from other places in the United States, they stopped here in Jeffersonville, Indiana to pick up their weapons and uniforms, and then boarded trains out to the ships to go overseas. There's a parking lot over the top of a POW, German POW cemetery. They just paved right over top of these poor guys. So those buildings are on anything in the quartermaster complex is ungodly haunted. That place is off the hook, and you can't get in there because it's owned by the federal government. They don't have a sense of humor about it.
Yeah. Frank Folder. I tripped in a cemetery once, like 33 years ago. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, that's one of the problems out there at that my family cemetery is all the broken footstones you can't see through the tall grass.
Oh no, he's talking trip like LSD.
Oh, that kind of trip.
That kind of trip.
Well, that you saw some stuff then.
That's why I was laughing. And then Sarge went left field.
Yeah, no, I thought tripped as literally tripped. Well, yeah, I mean tripped over something. Wrong trip. My bad.
That's funny.
Yeah. I like that video that you guys did. Of all the mobsters in that cemetery. That was an excellent video. So yeah, for my family and friends that are here, please check out, like, and subscribe. Joker's Nation and Midwest Flesh, excuse me, and Storms, Steel City Storms page if you want to see videos of where we're all from. Troy, if you want to check out, they do some excellent videos. They they were down on, not too far from our old, they filmed the inside of the old Red Dragon right down the street from our house, dude. So
Yep.
blocks away from the house we grew up in there.
Yep. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, we're all over the place.
Well, did you guys did the, I know my mom's listening. You guys did the old stadium that's in the woods there in Hobart, right? Is that one with the scoreboard that's in the concrete?
Oh, that was
Is that in Hobart or is that Miller?
That was Lake Station,
Lake
Edison.
Station. Okay.
Lake Station, Edison football field.
My mom grew up in Hobart, so
Thought you were talking about Gilroy for a minute. I was going to say, yeah, we did Gilroy. That's the one in the field too.
Talon, if he's talking about the little gate, I don't know what he's referring to there. I'm kind of lost on that. What Pappy's referring to on that. Yeah, I'm going to need a little bit more information. I have to refresh my memory. So I've slept since then.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
was hearing a weird noise, trying to figure out what that was. Yeah, you knew that scoreboard was still there. We fought through all those sticker bushes, but we found it. Well, he was told by a local explorer that it was gone, that they had walked that field left, right, up, down, could not find it. And he said, no, I know it's still there. I'm going to find it. And sure enough, we had to battle through the overgrowth is pretty bad there, and it's all thorn. But we got through it, and sure enough, boom, there it is. Oh, yeah, Storm did the old Bricky Bowl.
That's what I was talking about, the old Bricky Bowl. Yeah. See, now, there's a video my mom
There
would.
you go. I didn't know about the Bricky Bowl. I didn't know that's what you're talking about.
My brother chimed in there. He says, I told him about, the Red Dragon there, dude. They go, it's abandoned. They just walk in, they film it, but they were right down the street from the house. Yep, they're on Broadway, right next to the Foreign Legion. Joker's messing with his green screen.
How you guys doing? Sorry about my front porch falling down.
Yeah, they go in the Legion right there also. Troy, I remember us delivering newspapers there. They always tipped us well.
Y'all want to go for a ride? We could jump in. We'll get out of here too.
Man, it's neat that you know how to do that stuff. I'm still trying to figure out how to get the toast out of this thing, this fancy toaster right here.
I just like, putting myself in different locations. Like, look, Mom, I'm on TV. I could do that, or I can jump over here to the monitor. Hi, I'm on the monitor. Or I can jump over here to the picture frame up on the mantle. Hi,
yeah, Midwest. Yeah, when you guys did that Legion, brother, that took me back. I mean, seriously. I mean, my brother and I used to, like I said, we delivered newspapers to him. So yeah, I got to get a green screen. There's no doubt. Yeah, I got to figure all that crap out. That's something I got to do. But so yeah, when you guys filmed that Legion, they used to have us, because me and my brother were underage, we couldn't go in the front door, so they'd have us come around the backside there at the alley, and they'd pay us there. And they always had some good food cooking in that place, man. You could always smell that food coming out of that place. So yeah, it was kind of weird to see it. But it was neat. I did. Yeah, I saw the poker table and the pull tab machines that you guys found back in the office. That was pretty cool.
Oh, the old stamp machine.
Yeah.
Yep. Those are cool. It's sad that a lot of those VFWs are closed like that.
It
Matter
is.
of fact, John Taffer, Bar Rescue, he just saved one the other night. I was watching it. That was pretty cool.
Yep.
He
Behind
went
behind the warehouse, Troy. Absolutely.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I'm just wanting to know where we're going this weekend. I need to get out. Need to get out and do some.
Can't get the new investigation in, huh?
Well, Flesh is the only one we got to worry about. Storm, I think we can get him out because technically him and Diane have been working, so they've been out and about. My wife works, so my house is contaminated, so it's not going to hurt me going out. Flesh is the only one that we gotta find a way to convince Brandy that he won't have to live in the doghouse to go out this weekend.
Oh, yeah. Don't have to worry about catching it. So how bad is it up there in Chicago area, guys? I mean, is it spreading pretty bad up there in Chicago?
Honestly, went by the hospital. There's hardly any cars at our local hospital. So that tells me that it's not nearly like the news is making it out. Oh, you can go. Sweet. All right. What'd you do? What'd you do? Tell her if she didn't let you go, you were going to work on her tattoo this weekend? She'd probably be like, nope, you got to go. Get out
on
of
the stream last night. He said he was going to have to work on it tonight and tomorrow. He said he was going to have to do some work on it. Because I remember him saying last night he wanted to go out, and he said he was going to have to work on her tattoo through the week to get to go. So,
I was going to say, no, he's got to let it heal up a little bit.
Man, I can't believe I lost trivia last night to a damn typo.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like Flesh just said, I know. I felt bad about that last night. Yeah, like Flesh just said, we don't know anyone around here that has it. I haven't heard of anyone I know. And the thing is, if it's that bad, like they're making it out on the news, you would have to know somebody in your real life that has it.
Yeah, see, we do down here.
I've had 2 people tell me on YouTube that they tested positive, but honestly, both of them are people that I don't believe even when they're on live stream. You know what I'm saying? They're the type that they've got everything. The one's got a traumatic brain injury, but yet I don't see it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But no, I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of stuff, and I'm not going to go full-blown conspiracy on it, but I'm seeing a lot of stuff where people are showing hospitals and they're not overrun like they're saying on the news. Some people are saying, yeah, there's a bunch dead. Some people are saying there ain't. I'm gonna say this. I saw more dead from our last flu last year than I'm seeing from this, and that's just. I know the big worry is how contagious it is, but it also has one of the highest survival rates as well.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, per capita, they're saying Indiana per capita is the worst, and I'm not seeing it. So I don't know how they could say that.
Yeah, and I know the local health department. I know all those people from being on the job in this area, and now it's starting to hit this area. We haven't nowhere near started to peak yet, but man, we've got people down here just stupid. I mean, you got kids going to coronavirus parties. I kid you not. Bunch of kids in Louisville, teenagers, went to a party for coronavirus party is what they called it. Yeah. And every damn one of them ended up in ICU.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, and then I guess my wife was telling me there was some on the news, about 200 people over in Louisville, Kentucky are out there street racing, or watching guys street race a couple nights ago. I mean, don't take it serious if you don't want to, but this is
I mean, don't get me wrong. I know that there's a virus out there. Yes, it's highly contagious, but everyone's freaking out. Oh, look at how many new cases there are. No, it's just
Well,
they
yeah,
were
they're
already
not
people that had it. They're just
right.
people now that have taken a test and the test has said, yes, you have it.
Yes, that's it.
The
That's
thing
it.
is
They're
that
not new cases. You just finally
no,
tested
no,
people, right?
no, you're just finding out that more people have it that just Tide Pod stupid. They're finding out that, all of a sudden, oh, well, now they've got 300 cases in Indiana. No, you've had 300 cases in Indiana. It's just confirmed now.
So
Laughing about that Tide Pod comment.
yeah, there's been a couple people here locally in the next county over that is that
Right.
have died from it locally. Yeah, my brother, my sister-in-law works at a hospital. They have 70 employees that have it over in Louisville.
Right. I'm not saying
Nurses.
that there ain't a virus. I'm just saying that I don't feel that it's. I'm not a doctor. I don't have a PhD. I have common sense. Common sense says that if it was that bad, we would hear of a lot more people that we know, especially as many people that are connected to people all over the United States on the internet. I don't know anyone in my own family that has it. My
Well, that's just
daughter,
it. I don't want anybody in my family. I don't want to know anybody
Right.
in my family that has. I mean, seriously, I hope they all of
My
them say,
daughter and son-in-law have been tested. They tested negative. That's all I care. My grandson's safe. That's all I care. But I think there's.
I got elderly parents and in-laws I take care of. So
right. I think the media's hyped it up to scare everyone more so. And do I think that they need to for some people? Yeah. Because there are stupid people out there.
Yeah, some
doing
people need to be
stupid
scared.
stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, here's the thing. They put these stay-at-home orders out and they're not martial law. They can't fine you. If they do, they're going to lose when you take it to court because it's not constitutional to fine somebody for coming out in the street. Now, if they mark it martial law, then yeah, it does, But, yeah, see, the thing with that, Connie, is when you're talking about that 13-year-old boy, what kind of medical issues did he have before the fact? That's the problem, that anyone with a compromised system, whether they got CF or any kind of lung issues, yeah, they're going to be more susceptible. Well, 100,000 people haven't died. Okay, that's their projection. They also projected that we were going to get like 10 inches of snow about 15 times this year. And that didn't happen. So, I mean, that's a projection.
Yeah, with my elderly parents and my in-laws and, I got 2 granddaughters here. Yeah, you know what? I take all the precautions. I'm going to take it serious.
Right.
With my medical training, I read the epidemiology on this virus. Right. I actually stayed up one night. It was like reading the worst horror novel I've ever read, just reading about the actual medical facts on this and
right.
The way it spreads. I tell you what, it comes across to me like it's a weaponized biologic.
That's what I said too.
And here's another fact. It has a 60% greater chance of killing men than women. What's 90% of our fighting force?
I'll come get you. Okay. Sorry, wife saw me. She's going to bed. No, I mean, first off, I have compromised immunity. Okay. My immune system's compromised because I've got a plastic aorta. Doctor told me I'm somebody that would be considered high risk. I'm not going to stop living my life and doing what I do because of that. If it's my time, it's my time. That's the way I look at it. Don't get it twisted. That's just the way I look at it. My thing is that I have, and these are my beliefs. They're not everyone's. Okay. And I'm not forcing anyone. I still believe, and the more scientists are looking at it, the more scientists are saying that they believe that it was in the United States as early as November.
Yeah, I've been reading it.
Exactly. And I still believe that everyone that had that flu, that tested negative for the flu, tested negative for strep throat, had that dry cough they couldn't get rid of, couldn't hardly breathe, felt like you had a fat woman sitting on your chest. You ached, you had fevers, you felt like total dog crap. I feel that everyone that had that, just like these scientists are believing, are the people that had it the first time. CDC was screwing up on the tests when they got the initial test for it, and they were getting a lot of people that were testing negative. They had people that were testing positive that were negative. I believe that, this has already come through, and I believe that the people that got sick already once, we've got antibodies. Why they're not testing people more to see if they have the antibodies is beyond me, because the first thing to do when you go to treat a person for something is you find a person that's got antibodies against it. And then you mimic that for a vaccination.
Yep.
They haven't been doing that. And that's what makes me wonder what the hell is up. If
Yeah,
that was the case, everyone that was sick in November, December, January, February, they would be calling them in and running a blood panel on them.
Right. And I've actually seen them. A news report that they have been running antibodies and injecting people with with people they know that have beaten it and gotten over it. They're testing on people that have it currently to see if that's. Right. I mean, they're scrambling. Right. I mean, and I got to say that I agree with Frank a little bit there. Frank's comment there a little bit. That I'm going to take it serious.
Right.
I mean, I turned 50 this year. I'm not ready to lose my dad yet. Not to something like this. I mean, or to anything for that matter. But you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying, though. I didn't mean for the show to get all dark on everybody.
No. And Frank, hopefully that clears it up to where you don't think I'm just being a heartless bastard, because that's not the case. I mean, believe me, my wife works every day as a manager of a grocery store, health food / grocery store. Every day I got to worry my wife's out there and she's getting sick, she's passing money back and forth, she's having to touch product that people have touched. And I'm not going to lie, she works right by the Valparaiso University, and the university's closed, but the kids are still living on campus in housing there, and they're still patronizing her store. And, these millennials, they don't give a crap about this, as we've seen on the news. So it kind of
stupid. They're just stupid.
It kind of worries me, but like I said, I'm not going to live my life in fear. I'm not going to listen to what the media is telling me, because of the simple fact, I'm going to live my life. If it's my time, it's my time. Thank
you, Johnny. I appreciate that.
But no, we don't have 100,000 cases of people dying. As of right now, it was 3,800 people have died?
No, brother, it's got up into thousands because of New York City.
No, actually, they just showed it tonight. It just surpassed, what was it? Let me look.
I think surpassed it was China.
3850 something, I think, was what I just watched.
You're right. Yeah, you know what? Matter of fact, I think you're right.
Just top 3,000 people have died. So 100,000 people have not died. And I'm not going to spread rumors and say 100,000 people have died. What they showed tonight on the briefing was that is a projection.
That's a projected amount
from a model. One model said that if we didn't do anything, it would have been 2 million people. Yes, that's true. And you don't know if it's just the beginning. You're just going by what the media is telling you. You don't know. If we got this and it started in November, that doesn't put us at the first apex of a turn. It puts us halfway through the race, if not more. Okay. So, and then the other thing, why is it that the UK has just took it from being an HDIC or HCID? UK just took it off their medical journal as an HCID, which stands for, Okay, look at it. It says it's no longer a contagious infectious disease. Well, if it's no longer an infectious contagious disease by theirs, then why is it still labeled as one here? Okay, there's just a lot of questions that are out there, and I'm not going full conspiracy. No, I don't believe this is part of QAnon's. I don't believe all that BS. Okay. Honestly, at 3,000 people that have died from this year, that's 3,000 too many. Yes, I agree with you there. But the flu this time last year had killed 3 times that many. Okay, and we didn't close the country because of it. That's the problem I have. And those that say, oh, well, the flu doesn't transmit the same way this does. Yes, it does. It's airborne. It's touched the same way the flu is.
Yeah, same
okay.
thing.
The only difference between this and the flu is that 100% of people that touch that are going to get it.
Yeah, because because we haven't been exposed to it yet. So if your body doesn't have the antibodies.
No, actually, Frank, no. The doctor said that was a projected model. Go watch it again, sir. I watched it tonight. She said it's a projected model that if they do everything right, 100,000 people could die. Could. It's a projected model. Sorry. I don't mean to be getting a little irritated, but I don't like when somebody says that I'm a heartless bastard.
I was waiting to see what the comments scrolled up in. Yeah, that's just it too. The flu doesn't move through the population like this is.
Right.
This is just, this is unreal how quickly it spreads, how rapidly it spreads. That's the problem. The problem it's that our healthcare system can't handle the number of people sick at one time.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Spread is fast. Yeah, absolutely, Frank. I'm with you. I knew what you were trying to say there.
Yeah, it had me confused with the Doras. I was like, what's the Doras? But I figured out what he meant.
Hey, I promise that the New World Order conspiracy, the Freemasons have absolutely nothing to do with the coronavirus. I promise. I promise. Don't start pointing fingers at me.
I know.
I didn't do it.
I know. I was laughing about that.
I cooked it up in the kitchen in my coffee maker is what I did. So, yeah, Frank, absolutely. Yeah, actually, we're screwed if we start losing the first responders way before the doctors and nurses. But the ones on the street, if we lose them, that's when the doctors and nurses need to know they're screwed.
So how about them Cubs?
How about them Cubs? It's kind of went dark on us here tonight. We didn't mean for it to go dark, people. We really did.
No.
Not that. I apologize. What it comes down to, everyone stay safe, use your brains, use some common sense. Just stay healthy.
Right.
If you've got elderly family, try not to, stay 6 feet back. Try not to hug on them. I know it sucks. I saw my mom and dad. I was at my mom and dad's house today. It sucked. I couldn't give my mom and dad a hug. I've been out to the grocery store and stuff. I don't want to get. And right now, the county where I went shopping in is a hot spot for Southern Indiana. The health department came on and. Yeah.
I'll be honest. I walked into Myers and the lady's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. I didn't wipe down the cart." I grabbed another thing and I was like, "Okay," and I wiped down the cart myself. I don't know if you washed your hands recently. I'm wiping that bitch down again. But
I wipe it down. I know it's been wiped down.
Honestly, in the places we're going to be exploring, here's the thing. The reason I look at it, like I said, going out and exploring, the places that we're exploring, we're not touching a lot of stuff, and the stuff inside of theirs 10 times more deadly than the coronavirus is. So the coronavirus comes in some of those buildings, it's leaving dead.
Like that one video where you found the pit bull. That wasn't happy with you for being in there.
Yeah.
That was almost bad. That dog looked at you like I'm about to. You're going to be a squeaky toy.
Yeah. Well, the video I just put out, there was another pit bull in it, but it was mummified. I ended up blurring it, most of it, but yeah, it was mummified on the floor. Looked like it had curled up in a ball and just died right next to the couch. I was like, what the hell? I stepped on something and I heard a crack, and I was like, that wasn't a typical crack. No, it was a rib bone. It's like, oh. Yeah, it was sad. It messed with me all day because, I mean, even on the video, I haven't had anyone give me a hard time about it, but Flesh is like, what's its name? Because I said it had a tag on it. He said, what's its name? And smart-ass Tom picked up and said, Spot. 'Cause that's what it is now. It's a spot on the floor, and I was laughing, but it bothered me all day. It messed with me all day seeing that. Because I got a dog at home that's on the verge, and it's like I keep thinking about what it must be like, you know, being all alone in that house, and that was its last moments. Ugh.
Yeah, that's bad. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, guys, we've been on it for 2 hours, 35 minutes. I think it's about time to call it an evening. I appreciate everyone that came out to show me support. Thanks, Joker, for coming up here.
Yep.
Midwest, thank you for, sharing me
Hanging
out there so we get more people in. I appreciate that. Please like, share, comment. I appreciate everyone. Thank you so much. Subscribe. I could really use this the subscription.
Yeah.
And I got to think over what we're going to next week's episode is going to be. I'm hoping to get back on the Freemason side of things next week. I've been talking to a guy who's hopefully going to be able to video chat like what we're doing now, but we should be discussing the symbols of Freemasonry and what they mean anciently and currently. So without giving away any of the secrets that we're not allowed to give away. So you get a chance next week, please tune in. Same bat time, same bat channel. So
yeah.
Thanks everyone for coming out. Please check out Joker's Nation, Steel City Storm, and Midwest Flesh's channel. Check out their videos. Like and subscribe those guys. Look, if you like the urban exploring, I can't say enough about them. They are the guys that set the bar for professionalism in their videos. Please check them out. So
Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Again, so thank everybody for coming out. It was good seeing everyone, and I really appreciate it.
And make sure, guys, like he said also, if you guys haven't clicked his bell and subscribed to him, please do.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
He could use that support. Make sure, if you can, share out his channel to your friends. Post it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. Tell him come hang out with Sarge.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
It's a damn good guy. Damn good guy. That's why I come up here. And hopefully I didn't offend anyone tonight with my different way of looking at things. I do look at things a lot different. Sorry about that if I offended anyone. Frank, hopefully you didn't get offended. I don't hold that against you. We have a difference of opinion. That's what we're all about. We're entitled to it.
Hey, hey, Joker. Your guys' community, and most of these guys are from your all's community,
right?
They're a good group together. They got thicker skin than that, brother.
Right.
I don't think you offended him. I think you guys can, respectfully disagree. Right. Honestly. So
I hope so because I'd hate to lose a family member over it because technically he is still a family member. He comes to the live stream, shows us support, and I consider that to be family.
Robert, thank you. I appreciate that.
Family can disagree.
Much love to you all out there too. Stay safe, take care of each other. All right, everyone, stay healthy, and I hope I'll see you. The other streams there in the comments, and we'll see you next week on the live stream. So, again, thanks a lot, everybody. Thank you, Joker. Y'all have a good night. It's good seeing everybody.
Remember to wash your hands, guys. All right. And like the old saying is, you could pick your friends, you could pick your nose, but you can't pick your friend's nose because that's a bad thing to do nowadays. Don't do it. I'm out of here, man.
Good night,
Have
everyone.
a good one, Sarge.
You too.